certainly the cheapest. Nice place to watch the game in the hills overlooking Strawberry Canyon and Memorial Stadium. The one thing that you have to be careful of is just above and to the left of where they are sitting is the cannon that they fire off when the Cal Bears come onto the field and whenever Cal scores. So you got to be on your best behavior up there with that cannon there, because it's aimed right at us, Cleet, and I think it might be aiming at you.
Well, here's again the touchdown. Paul Carr coming in, throwing a body out there and getting a piece of Ortega, who can't quite get there to make the tackle for Broussard. He goes in there for another one of his many touchdowns this year. I'm losing count. But that was really a pretty methodical drive, like you said. It was almost non-exciting because it was just so easy. Hopefully the defense can do the same type of thing on their end of the field.
Hansen's kick, and Greer was going to make the catch and lets it bounce, and it bounces out of bounds. So Jason Hansen will have to kick it off again. He's been doing that a lot, trying to hang it up into the corner there and make the receiver make a decision as to whether or not he actually has to kick it or not. And a lot of teams would be disappointed with having that football pushed back 5 yards, but it's not that big of a deal with Jason Hansen because he'll just kick it that far again.
That wasn't a bad kick. You know, a lot of times when it goes out of bounds, you think, oh, that was a lousy kick, but that was a tough decision.
Look at Mike Zimmer, who is the Cougar defensive coordinator. He is walking on the left of your screen, and I'm sure there are some butterflies with Mike Zimmer right now. Talking to him before the game, as you see Bruce Snyder and the Cal staff on the sideline. Mike Zimmer certainly concerned. He doesn't want his defense to look like it did against Arizona State. And the Cougar players saying that they were anxious to get back onto the field because they feel they're a better defensive team than they showed against Arizona State. Bruce Snyder in his third year as the head coach of the California Bears, 11-17-3. Eighth year as a head coach overall. He is 50, 54, and 4. He's a University of Oregon graduate. There's Jason Hansen, the sophomore out of Meade High School in Spokane, and he boots it away this time. And boots it 5 yards deep in the end zone, and Greer will set it down. So as you see, the penalty not that big of a deal as the Bears will start it from their 20. And Cleet, one thing that's encouraging, the Cougars all season long have been the most penalized team in the Pac-10. That's not the case anymore. USC has taken over that category.
Well, I'm just glad to see that the Cougars didn't turn the ball over there in their first possession. Here the California offense with Troy Taylor, the quarterback, Anthony Wallace at the tailback, Tim Jenkins, the fullback. Wide receivers are Treggs and Smith with Brent Woodall, the tight end.
Smith with a big game, 8 catches, 177 yards against Arizona. This is Anthony Wallace, and if they hand the football off, you can bet it's going to be Wallace or his backup, Greg Zumwalt, who was a true freshman with the football. They very rarely hand it to the fullback. The fullback, as you take a look at the offensive line, Troy Azine, probably the best of the bunch there along with Tony Smith. Anthony Wallace, though, has carried 146 times, while Schellenberg, the starting fullback who's injured and not in the lineup today, has carried it only 6 times. His backup, Jenkins, has carried it just 5. You see the Cougar defenders, led by Grayson and Ledbetter linebackers. Second down for Taylor. He will throw for the first time. Has time and now is chased out of bounds. Couldn't find a receiver, so the Cougar secondary did its job there.
That's an interesting formation. I think the coordinator for the California offense wanted to see how the Cougars would react with 2 wide receivers, the 2 flankers, I guess is what you call them, were set up both on the hash mark down here, inside the hash mark, and ran straight down the field. The Cougars playing man-to-man had no problem covering it. Taylor had no one to go to.
3 wide receivers for the Bears, with Zumwalt, the only back behind Taylor, who appears to be going to the audible on 3rd and 5. Handoff up the middle, and this is the freshman Zumwalt. A good second effort as he is able to pick up the first down. He was hit by Grayson at about the 27, but Dan couldn't bring him down, and Randy Gray out of nearby Danville was able to finally haul him down, but not until Zumwalt had picked up the first down.
There you see Grayson in the middle, just getting the shoulder on Zumwalt. Wasn't enough to take him down, and you lunge forward for the first down, so the Bears have a first down, keep their drive alive. You would have liked to stop them there and got the offense back on the field, but defense needs to play a little tougher against the run on those short 3rd and shorts.
Double wide receivers to the left, the top of your screen, Treggs and Smith. The back's in the eye, and this is Wallace who has a hole. Wallace squirts out to the 40, and it's a Grayson again. Senior out of Woodland and Wenatchee Valley in on the stop for Washington State.
Well, Cal's offensive line has come to work. They do a good job on Lewis Bush, and Marlon Brown takes it inside. And there's a nice lane created there, and there's Grayson and Moton trying to get there to make the tackle, but a nice first down gain. It'll make it about 2nd and 2 for Cal, and really an obvious passing down for them to go to work deep maybe.
Wallace, a junior out of Altadena, California, transferred from Pasadena City College, averaging just under 4 yards a carry. Had 96 yards against Arizona. Taylor with time to throw, and we're going to have a pass interference, but Treggs makes the catch anyway. Brian Treggs, a sophomore out of Carson, makes the catch, and it'll be a first down for the Bears on the completion. Cougars are saying it might be offensive interference, and the officials are going to talk a little bit.
I think the Cougars are motioning, as you see the throw there, that is an incomplete pass. I think there was definitely pass interference, but the ball looked like it might have got loose. But I think the call will be pass interference on the Cougars, and that'll march off a first down against Washington State.
They're still holding the spot where Treggs was down, as you see Mike Price. So
pass interference, defense, penalty, 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
So apparently it was an incomplete pass as we take a look again.
Here you see Ricard obviously making contact as Treggs has inside position there, man-to-man position. The ball's on the ground, so it was an incomplete pass, but it's all for naught as far as Cal's concerned, because they have a first down now on just outside the Cougar 45.
Troy Taylor coming into this game, completing 55% of his passes this year, 1,993 yards, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Little fake reverse to Treggs. Taylor throws it, and it's caught by Woodall, the tight end, and he goes out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Little razzle-dazzle out of the Cal playbook this time.
A lot of razzle-dazzle. They faked the reverse. There's good pressure. Randy Gay just can't quite get there, and Taylor throws up a duck, but Woodall's right there as Ledbetter was trying to sort out which play was actually going to happen there. They faked inside, faked the reverse to Treggs, and then throw to Woodall behind Ledbetter. Nice little play, not one that you practice much against, and now you got to think that Cal's in scoring position here, especially with Taylor's dangerous arm leading these guys, and looks like an obvious passing formation here.
Back split behind Taylor. They also have an outstanding place kicker in Robbie Keane. Taylor, the home run ball. And it's a touchdown, California. Ron Ricard was going to be flagged for pass interference anyway, but it won't matter because Taylor floated it up, and Michael Smith, who had 2 touchdown catches against Arizona, now has 1 against Washington State.
Well, the Cougs elect to only bring 4 people, and it's just a flat-out fly route, and they're gambling that Michael Smith's going to go up and get that ball. Man-to-man coverage, and Ricard doesn't turn around to find the ball. A pass interference, and a touchdown for California as they'll go for the extra point to try to tie this one up. So it looks like we're in for an exciting ball game today. One of those games where whoever has the ball last might win it.
Well, there was talk in the papers that everybody expected a shootout. Mike Price said, let's hope not. But so far, that's what we have. The defenses have not been a factor. Cougars marched 80 yards. The Bears answered right back and marched 80 yards. And Robbie Keane will try to tie it up. He will do so out of the hold of Ron Flores. Keane 12 out of 13 on the year out of extra points, and punches that one through. It was low, and the Cougars came close to getting a hand on it, but Keane converts. 8:26 left to play in the first quarter. California 7, Washington State 7. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest. We'll see what Keane elects to do here. And he will drill it. There won't be any chance for a run back on this one. It's the upright, as you see, and the official makes a nice grab. Good catch by James Springer there.
I really think that's a waste of a kickoff. All you got to do is cover 30 yards, and you come up with the same thing there. I would have suspected that maybe the Cougars would have tried something different, but Bruce Snyder may be a little more conservative.
Well, it was Steve Broussard back there, and he did run one back 98 yards against Arizona State, and the Bears have to certainly be cognizant of that. In this series, California leads it. It started in 1919. 33 wins for the Bears, 16 for the Cougars, and 5 ties. You saw the numbers on Gosson as Broussard racks up a few more numbers, and another first down run. We said on the first series, Broussard went for 190 yards against the Bears a year ago, and he's on his way there already as he's up near that 50-yard mark here in the first quarter.
Well, it hasn't been hard for him. He's not getting hit by the big people, at least. Here he makes a cut. There's Norvell making his block on Ortega, who does get a hand on him, but Broussard would much rather go up against the likes of Greer than guys like Ortega. Nice job by the offensive line again in creating a hole.
Cougars are 6-2-1 against the Bears in the 80s, so they have played well in this series of late. Swing pass to Broussard, and that's Ortega who's able to force him out of bounds near the 35. So Gosson is perfect on the afternoon, but he has completed 70% of his passes coming in this year.
I think he's 5 of 5, and these are the easy ones. Broussard, again, just trying to get the ball to him and let him work his magic. One-on-one with Ortega, who just gets an ankle and forces about a 4-yard game, 4.5-yard game, so it'll bring up 2nd and 5.
Broussard is also the leading receiver on this Cougar team with 33 catches now. He took that over because Stallworth has been out of the lineup and hasn't had a catch since USC. Stogner is wide open, and Gosson finds him, and he puts a move on to get outside as he made the move to elude the defender, Cornell Collier, and into Cal territory down to the 47-yard line, breaking the Cal coverage there.
Well, once again, Gosson with all sorts of time here on the play action. He's looking downfield, doesn't see the man going down in the seam over the middle. And the scooter man's just sitting out here all by himself, does a good job, switches the ball to the outside, picks up a good first down, 1st and 10 from Cal's 47. Cougars going in again.
Brad Gosson, shooter out of Westlake Village, California, 6 out of 6, 60 yards. You can even figure out what his average is now so far today, huh, Cleve?
Don't test me.
Trips right for the Cougars with Broussard in the backfield. The handoff delayed to Broussard, and Dwayne Odom right there, the junior out of San Diego, 6'4", 235, introduces himself to Mr. Broussard.
Broussard made a mistake there and just not going ahead when there wasn't anything and try to create something in the hole. You can get away with that maybe 4 yards back of the backfield and try to make something here, but here you'll see him come to a dead stop right in the hole, and Mr. Odom wraps him up. No gain.
7 minutes left to play in this first quarter. Cougars and Bears tied at 7, and the Cougars back on the march. So far, neither defense has been a factor. Bears looking to show a blitz, and they do come, and Gosson's going to run it. And he is pushed out by David Ortega as Gosson is out at the 44, gain of about 2 yards. Gosson complaining that it might have been a late tackle by Ortega. Talking to Bill Diedrich, the quarterback coach for the Cougars, he says that Kent Baer, who handles the defense for the California Bears, you see Tim Lapano, the running back coach, and Mike Price on the Cougar sideline. The Bears don't like the blitz.
They're very conservative, as we've seen so far. Their defensive people back off the ball. They'll allow the Cougars to run the ball, but they're not going to get beat with a big one. So the Cougars are going to line up here in 2 tight ends and try to pick up this first down.
3rd and 7. The Cougars 2 out of 2 in 3rd down conversions so far. Olsen is open. Gosson elects not to throw it. Now does and finds Olsen, and it's a first down at the 33-yard line. Olsen was open the first time, and Gosson elected not to throw it and waited for something else to develop, and Ron Young is holding up his hand, said he needs a sub. He was running the sprint pattern, was down in the end zone.
Well, again, here's Gosson, buys a little time, scoots around, then comes back to Olsen, throws it up a little high, but Olsen goes up, makes a nice catch, makes sure he gets that first down.
So Gosson now 7 of 7 for 71 yards. Cougars have converted 3 first downs, including that long one. 1st and 10, Washington State on the 33 of Cal. Gosson will throw. And the catch is made by Curtis Geathers, his first catch as a Cougar. Curtis Geathers seeing action because of the fact that the Cougars are banged up, with Calvin Griggs banged up and also Tim Stallworth. So Geathers is in the lineup at wide receiver. And Desmond Clayton, a freshman, is in the lineup as well at wide receiver.
Well, Curtis, nice job, comes in and helps out when you need him. We're a little light on wide receivers today, and he's just going to run his sideline route. And I think he was a little surprised that ball was thrown to him, but made a nice catch and continue this drive on down the field.
Freshman out of Olympia with his first catch as a Cougar. The handoff to Broussard on the draw. Touchdown, Washington State. Steve Broussard from 15 yards out has scored his 2nd touchdown of the day, and the Cougars are 2 for 2 on 80-yard drives.
Again, nice job, especially by Norvell to move his person out, and there's just a big wide open scene on the draw for Broussard to come through, and no one even touched him as he bolts through from about 18 yards out. So Washington State, not even losing a step on the offense, goes down. Here you see Broussard, 67 yards so far, 2 touchdowns, and it just seems like we got going.
So the Cougars used 4 minutes on their first drive, 4:55 actually, and now they use 1:54 on this second drive. Both of them 80-yarders. Hansen adds the exclamation point. 81st in a row for the sophomore out of Meade, and Washington State leads California 14-7. 6:32 left to play yet in the first quarter. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
Filling in that spot where Tim Stallworth normally is, and the wide receivers with Curtis Gathers and Jody Sears making things happen. An onside kick.
And it's recovered by the Bears. The Bears were able to cover it. I believe it was Scott Roseman who made the recovery, number 43 for the Bears. So California will have the football in very good field position, and I don't think Hansen hit that one like he wanted to.
Well, if he did, it was I guess a poor idea or a poor choice by Mike Price and the coaching staff for Washington State. You certainly don't want to put the defense in any worse position, so they have to step up and see if they can stop the Bears on a short field here.
Bears will start on the Cougar 46. Taylor will give it to Anthony Wallace, and he won't get anything. Big Marlon Brown there. Chris Moton came up from the safety spot to force the play, and Marlon Brown, the senior out of Foster City, who's playing in front of a lot of family and friends, number 99, making the stop.
Well, Marlon Brown does a good job. Here he takes on Smith, the fullback, and really that makes it easier for the rest of the guys. Nice job by Marlon Brown playing off 2 people to get to the ball carrier.
Loss of a yard for Wallace, and watch Marlon celebrate this one when he gets up. He's one of the more vocal Cougars.
Get out of my office.
He's always talking to the offensive lineman. Play action. Taylor's hammered as he gets rid of it. It was intended for Jenkins, and that's our first incomplete pass of the afternoon.
Well, that'll make Mr. Taylor think twice, as he's real slow getting up. Those are the ones that really hurt when you open up into the rusher and land on your back, and then he lands on you. Not only does it hurt when you hit the field, but then it hurts again when the 260-pound defensive tackle or outside linebacker lands on top of you. So a good job so far by Washington State's defense, really holding Cal to nothing here, and a big play now, 3rd and 11, keep the Bears out of scoring position.
Cal offensive line had given up a lot of sacks early in the year, but only 3 in the last 2 games. Taylor audibling at the line of scrimmage as the backs are split, and he has 3 wide receivers. Straight rush by the Cougars, and Taylor's going to have to run it and run it out of bounds. He's pushed out of bounds by Alvin Dunn. So the Cougar defense, put in a tough spot, responds.
Well, that time the Cougar defensive secondary changed their strategy. Instead of going man-to-man coverage, they gave their corners, Noble and Ricard, some deep help and allowed them to play underneath. And Taylor looked for Treggs up on top, and Ron Ricard had help deep, so let him go by him and then covered him from I guess a man-under type of coverage, and really did a good job in snuffing that play out. Taylor had nowhere to go but out of bounds. So nice job by the defense not to allow Cal to score after that weak onside kick.
Robbie Keene handles the punting chores as well. He's averaging 42.6 yards a kick, and he'd love to get that right here since the line of scrimmage is the 44. He'll kick this one high, and John Diggs will call for a fair catch and let it hit, and Keene has done a great job as the Bears down it at the 5, and they should have let it bounce again. They had a Bear at the goal line who was ready to smother the ball should it go that way, but the Bear who downed it decided not to take a chance, so the Cougars will start with the football on their own 5. They've had 2 80-yard drives, and now they'll have to engineer a 95-yard march if they're going to reach the end zone.
Really, John Diggs did the right thing there. He was on his 10-yard line, and you're taught not to go beyond your 10-yard line. He raised the fair catch sign and tried to draw the defenders over. It was just an excellent kick by Robbie Keene to bring the ball down and just have it softly land on the 5-yard line.
Gosson, you see already throwing for 89 yards, was 13 out of 17 for 334 yards against Arizona State. Broken play, and Gosson does well to get back to the initial line of scrimmage. He went to hand it off to number 31, but there was nobody there but the back of the end zone.
I'm not sure whose fault it was, as Gosson might be a little shaken up there as he maybe take a shot to the head or something, a little woozy. He
Here
says
see
he's
Mark
okay.
Smaha, the Cougar trainer, out. Mark's asking Brad exactly where he is. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happens here.
You know, the way the blocking is, all the blocking, as you can see, is directed to the right side, and I think Broussard made the mistake there, and there's Gosson taking a hit to the back of the neck. It looks like he's okay. Smaha talking to him there, and I think he's fine, but so Garcia comes in, and you know, there's coaches who at this point would feel real nervous about sending their backup quarterback into this type of action, but Aaron Garcia is no longer a freshman, and Coach Price has as much confidence in this young man as he does in Gosson.
Garcia completing 60% of his passes, 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and on the first play, he will hand off to Steve Broussard. And the Bruiser has been doing a good job so far, doesn't get a whole lot there. Garcia, 111 for 184. His quarterback rating has gone down, but it's still one of the better ones in the Pac-10 at 138.5.
Not a lot of movement there that time by the offensive line, as Cal is playing very strong against the run, and Gosson comes back into the game. Cougars will go now with their 3 wide receiver package to see if they can pick up their first down here in their own end of the field.
3rd and 8 from their own 7. Gosson rolling out and has time. Also had a receiver but couldn't get it to him. He had Calvin Griggs open, who was in the lineup now, and he was intending his pass for Doug Wellsent, and he underthrew it.
Well, he had both of them open, and he kind of threw that ball in mid-stride on the rollout. And really didn't gun it in there as hard as he wanted. You see, he kind of throws that ball off his back foot, and he's really pretty lucky that that was not picked off. No reason there for that to be thrown short.
Paul Wolf, the regular starting center, is also the long snapper. So Quinn Magnuson, who was going to redshirt, is in to do the long snapping. He will be snapping it to Rob Myers, who is 2nd in the Pac-10 in punting at 44.8 yards a kick. He's also 4th in the nation. They need a big one from Rob here, and he hits a low line drive kick. And it is fielded by Brian Treggs at the 43, and he gets down to the 38-yard line. So for the 2nd consecutive possession, the California Golden Bears are going to have good field position. You saw number 65, Quinn Magnuson, running off, and he did a nice job with his first long snap.
Excellent snap. Hit Myers right in the hands, and Myers kind of skipped it off the side of his foot. Not a very good punt for the senior punter for Washington State. And again, the defense is playing on a short field.
So again, Taylor to direct the Bears, starting from the Cougar 37. Cougars show blitz, and they come. Here comes Ledbetter from the linebacker spot. Home run ball thrown up, and it's overthrown and almost intercepted. Ron Ricard got a hand on it. It was intended for Brian Treggs. Ricard, the only one who really had a chance to make that catch.
Ricard did a nice job there, making sure he didn't bite on the out and up. Here, Washington State comes with the blitz and does get some penetration. See Downing coming through there, throwing his body around, and Taylor really just kind of threw that one up. When they throw that long ball and lob it up there like that, they want to go to Michael Smith and not Treggs, because he's the one that has the height advantage. And Taylor really lost track, I think, of who was in the ballgame there.
See the backs adjust and go into the eye. This is Wallace, and he won't get anything. Tim Downing, I believe, wrapped him up. Downing fought off a block. In fact, had a blocker there and made the tackle on Wallace as well.
And he likes it. He shows that he knows he did a good job. Well, again, Washington State defense has risen to the occasion. Here, Wallace gets the ball deep. Downing comes through Spencer and wraps up Wallace for no gain. Excellent football play by Tim Downing, a Washington State defensive tackle. Brings up 3rd and 10 now, and you really expect Troy Taylor now to go back and look for Michael Wright down here matched up against Ron Ricard. He's got about a 6-inch height difference there.
Junior Tagaloa goes in motion. Here comes the blitz. Taylor has to hurry, gets it off, and Tagaloa drops it. He had Michael Wright on the heels, and he hurt him. And the Cougar defense has done its job. And now Robbie Keene will come back, but the question is, will he come back as a punter or as a field goal kicker? It would be a 55-yard attempt.
I think it's field goal because the backup quarterback is out on the field, and it's and here comes Keene to spot the kick, so he'll be trying to punch through about a 54-yard field goal, and he does have the swirling wind here at Memorial Stadium with him. And earlier in practice, these two kickers were running out of field. They are both very strong-legged, and Robbie Keene here will have an opportunity to quick 3 on the board for the Bears.
It'll be a 54-yarder officially. His longest is 53. He's missed from 55 and 58. This one's got distance, but he might have left it to the right. He did. So Keene had enough oomph, but not the right direction, and the Cougar defense has withstood the Bears again.
Nice job again by Washington State. Again, starting with the Bears having the ball inside the Cougar 50 and stopping them for no points, no gain, really.
You can catch volleyball action on Prime Sports Northwest on November 16th. Watch the Washington Huskies take on the California Golden Bears. That'll be at 10 o'clock on November 16th, right here on Prime Sports Northwest. So Gosson at quarterback brings the Cougars up with the line of scrimmage, the Cal 37. This is Broussard trying to get outside. That was David Wilson who forced him to go just a little further outside than he wanted to. And he was finally pushed out by Dan Slavin and Castle Redmond, as Butch says he likes what he's seen so far.
Doing his Mike Tyson imitation on the sidelines. Again, the wide receiver is doing a pretty good job of giving Broussard a little extra room to run there. Scooter Stogner was out on Parrish, I believe, the left corner here, and gave Broussard just that little extra room to toe dance and get a couple extra yards.
Broussard goes in motion. 3:24 left to play in the first quarter. Cougars lead at 14-7. Gosson has some running room and has the first down at the midfield stripe and won't take another hit. He'll pick up the first down. Ron?
Again, not a lot of pressure. Gosson's able to set up, look the field over. He had Wellsand running down the middle of the field. He came open a little later than and Gosson elected to tuck the ball and run with it for the first down. And obviously not a bad decision.
100th game as a head coach for Mike Price, and the Cougar coaches won 52 of those. Lost 47. There you see Broussard with 76 yards. He needs 117 to move past Tim Harris in the number 2 spot on the career rushing chart. Gosson and Olsen connect down to the 30-yard line. So Rod Olsen, the senior out of Walnut Creek, with the catch down to the 30-yard line.
Playing in his backyard here, Olsen just slips out from his tight end spot. And really a good strategy by Washington State coordinators to be able to work the people that you have. You're lacking on the wide receiver end, so let's throw the ball down the middle to Olsen. He makes a nice little spin move here and almost escapes from Greer. Again, another first down for Washington State.
Calvin Griggs is in the lineup. Quick toss to Wellsent, the tight end. And he is able to spring forward to the 20 and bowls his way to the 19. Double tight end look and just the quick drop by Gosson and another first down for the Cougars.
Not a thing of beauty, but effective. As Wellsand just takes a quick outside release and then does some beautiful, this is ballet, isn't it? Bam, bam, bam. Nice job by Wellsand to pick up the first down. Good job by Gosson to recognize what the defense was giving him and taking it. Not trying to get it all at one shot. Let's keep the defense off the field a little bit.
Wellsand with a couple catches today, now has 24 on the year, 25 on the year, as he has 3 this afternoon. Trips left for the Cougars. This is Broussard cutting back, and he was wrapped up by Cornell Collier, the sophomore out of Los Angeles. Collier more known for his pass defense, as he has 5.5 sacks rushing from an outside linebacker spot, but that time was able to contain Broussard on the run.
Well, there's a situation where Jody Sears is lined up off the ball in his slot back position and really can't get to Collier if he gambles and goes inside. That'll work in a running play, but if Collier comes inside like that and leaves Jody Sears open, there's a seam right down the middle, and Gosson will just pop up and hit that pass for a touchdown.
Here come the Bears showing blitz. Gosson forced out of the pocket. Has some running room if he elects. Instead throws it.
Touchdown!
Nope, touchdown, Ron Young.
Nice job by Ron Young to dig that ball out.
Now they're going to call it off. Another official has come over and said it skipped in.
Oh, how can you call that? The guy's standing right there and makes the call, and the referee runs down and disallows that call. I want to see that one on replay if we got it. Here's Gosson. Again, lots of time. Broussard stays in, helps up with the blocking on the pass rush. Gosson can either run or throw. He elects to throw it, and we don't get to see it.
Going to tantalize
So it's good. It's a complete touchdown. Young thought he had it, and the official was right there staring at it. I can't believe that was overruled by the official coming down from farther upfield.
He saw James Springer, and he has the official decision, and he said his guys worked together as a team, and they made the right call. See that Gosson has thrown for 119 yards already. Trips left with Broussard in the backfield. Gosson going with an audible on 3rd down. Bears come with the blitz. Gosson rolling. Ron Young making the catch again, but he was out of bounds. And Gosson has lost his helmet. And we've got a Cougar shaken up. It might be Jody Sears who's holding on to his right elbow.
I'm not sure what he's telling us. Here's Gosson rolling out, getting pressure from McCullough from the inside out. Has to throw the ball a little bit off balance, and it's low and away, and Young can't dig that one out either. So that brings on Jason Hansen to try about a, it looks like a 33-yarder, 31 and a half. I'm sorry, 36-yarder.
Technically, I'd call it 37, being spotted at the 27 out of the hold of Rob Myers from the right hash mark. Magnuson's snap is good. Someone got a hand on it, and Hansen got it through anyway. It looked like one of the Bears might have got a hand on it, and Jason Hansen kind of holds his helmet, but he gets 3 points out of it anyway. So Hansen is now 19 for 23 in the field goal department. He is the leading field goal kicker in the Pac-10, and the Cougars have stretched the lead to 10 at 17-7. Still a minute 46 to play in the first quarter. Seems like we've been here a while.
We're going to be here till probably late tonight the way the clock's running today. Here we have the
Senior League Baseball begins its first season by bringing back former Major League players like Paul Blair, Bucky Dent, Greg Nettles, Darryl Thomas, all back to the playing fields. They haven't brought Cleat back, though. Watch the Fort Myers Sun Sox take on Orlando, and that'll be Friday, November 17th, this coming Friday, live at 4:30 in the afternoon. Senior League Baseball this fall on Prime Sports Northwest.
Not quite ready for the senior leagues yet. We're getting there, though. Again, Gosson had an opportunity for the touchdown and threw the ball in there to Ron Young, and he couldn't quite dig it out, according to the third official on the scene. So Washington State will have to settle for Jason Hansen's knuckleball field goal, but Hansen will take it. It's better lucky than good. And Washington State goes up now 17-7, as you said, with a minute 46 left in this first quarter. The defense has really done an excellent job. Maybe we should just try to keep the ball on this side of the field. Hansen will kick it deep.
And this will be Darren Greer who will make the catch and decides not to bring it out. So the Bears will start with the football on their own 20, and Troy Taylor will direct the Bear attack. One thing that's interesting, and we'll watch next time the Bears kick off to the Cougars, but the backup quarterback, Mike Pulaski, who's a 6'3", 205-pound sophomore, hasn't had a chance to play, obviously, much this year with the way Troy Taylor has played. And the Cougars actually leading 17-7, but Pulaski plays on special teams, on the kick return teams, and on the kickoff team. He wants to see some action. Randy Gray, hold up, all over that play. That's going to be a loss of a couple as the Bears tried to run it. Greg Zumwalt was the ball carrier, 6'2", 195-pound freshman out of Moreno Valley.
Cougars got away with one as Lewis Bush is running all over the place trying to figure out where he is. Maybe it confused the blocking schemes because Randy Gray comes in and penetration gets a tackle for losses. Now it'll be second and about 11, maybe 12 for Troy Taylor and the Bears.
Anthony Randolph, a wide receiver, and along with Mike Ford in the slot as the backs are split behind Taylor. That's Brian Treggs, a wide receiver, to the top of the screen. Taylor will drop straight, pressured, and gets it out to Wallace on the screen. Gets a nice block on Chris Moton, and he's dragged down from behind as Dan Grayson able to come over to make the tackle. And Wallace is injured. He's holding on to his knee, and that's not good.
Not good, and it looks similar to the same type of injury that, as you see, the swing pass and the block from the center here on Moton. And there's Grayson to bring him down, and his knee hit much like Stallworth's knee did in the Oregon game. Here's the tackle, and his left knee will go down and really catch the turf. You see it's in that bent, and it'll hit hard, and maybe the right knee there, not the left knee, but that I think is what the problem's going to be. They're looking at the left knee. So Anthony Wallace is down, not a good sign for the Cal Bears. He's their, I believe, their leading ball carrier. Had about 100 yards last week against Arizona.
That's right, you're right.
Let's take a listen on the sidelines to what Joe Tiller and the Cougar offense is talking about.
Yeah, you do just exactly like you did. You know what you did?
Well, for you, those of you who can read lips, you know exactly what's happening. I think what he's diagramming there is where
Don't forget, we're dashing away
where the Cal Bear defensive line is lining up, and how that when we're pulling, how we need to look and kick out instead of try to hook, because Broussard's running lanes are inside the tackle or inside the end, and I think that's what he's trying to diagram there on his sheet. Good a guess as any.
And you hear the applause from the crowd as Wallace is being helped off the field now, but he's not bearing any weight at all on that left knee, so not a good sign for the Bears. Folks here in California are excited about what the Bears have in the future. Russell White, who is a 6-foot, 185-pound tailback. He is a Prop 48 victim this year, but he is an outstanding running back. He'll be eligible next year out of Crespi High School. And then Perry Klein, an outstanding quarterback out of Carson High School, the backfield of the future for the Bears, and they are very excited about the prospects.
Here's the tackle again, and you just see it barely. It's not really the force of the tackle, but more of the jarring against this turf here at Memorial Stadium that will be replaced after this game. So brings up about 3rd and 6 for Cal Bears.
Taylor straight drop, and his pass is caught by Woodall, the tight end, and he stays inbounds and gets out to the 44-yard line. So a big 3rd down for the Bears, and the crowd decides to get into it a little bit.
Woodall just rounding his crossing route, and there's Michael Wright, I believe, all over him. He knows what's going to happen, and he just decelerated a little bit to allow Woodall to get to that ball, and a 1st down for the Bears that keeps this drive alive. I think now with Wallace gone, or at least hobbled, that you can see the Cal Bears abandoning the running game and go straight to the pass.
Lewis Bush showing blitz. This will be the final play of the first quarter. Cougars all showing blitz now. Let's see if they come. Bush does, and the pass is a quick one to Treggs, and he's wrapped up immediately. Gain of about 5 on the play as Alvin Dunn. Roosevelt Noble came up very quickly to make the stop. Roosevelt Noble, the senior out of Sunnyvale, California, just down the road about 40 miles. So Noble getting a chance to play in front of family and friends, as are about 15 Cougars. That's the end of the first quarter. Washington State 17, the California Bears 7. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
It's fascinating, really.
Casper, happy that you've been with us on Prime Sports Northwest for Cougar football throughout this season. Cleet, it's been a lot of fun.
It has been. It's been a lot of fun, especially watching this Washington State team all year. They've provided some excellent football for us all year.
2nd and 5 for the Bears, and wide open is Michael Smith, and he's got running room. Roosevelt Noble tries to run him down, and finally does from behind. And that awakes this Bear crowd. And keep in mind that the Bears were trailing 21-0 against Arizona, 28-10, as you see Smith kind of limp-armed, and we have a flag on this play as well.
Well, Washington State is electing to go with the pass rush and brings everybody, including the middle linebackers, and that's why there's nobody there. Roosevelt's trying to come across. I think we're going to have a hold down here, farther down on the run that will bring it back a bit.
1st down 10.
So the 1st down will stand, but it'll be 1st and 10 from...
Appears to be at the 34-yard
line is right. So that brings it back a ways, but they did pick up the 1st down and continue the drive. Again, with Wallace out, I think the game plan of trying to have a balanced attack for Cal goes out the window, and you just bring your wide receivers in and bring in as many fresh bodies as you can and throw the ball down the field.
Trips right, as you see Taylor, 6 out of 9, 103 yards, and he's got the 1 touchdown to Smith. This is Zumwalt up the middle, and he gets near the 30.
The Cougars will let them do that all day. If they want to run their fullback for 3 yards a pop, that's fine with them. But in order for Cal to get back into this ball game, being down 17-7, they've got to throw the ball in the air and get some quick scores here. There's Zumwalt just running up the middle, and Grayson, Bush, Ricard get a little helmet on him.
The Bears have come up with 127 yards of offense so far. Cougars 206 yards in that first quarter. Trips to the right, Taylor rolls that way. Wanted to throw it deep, steps up and finds Brian Treggs. Michael Wright went for the fake and left Treggs. Took his eye off the receiver just long enough for Treggs to find the opening.
Well, there Cal does a good job of moving the pocket around, knowing that Washington State's going to come with some pressure. Randy Gray has the outside containment here, but he's got 2 people on him. Taylor fakes like he's going to run, then elects to throw the ball. Pretty good decisions. Treg does a toe dance and gets out of bounds. The first down for Cal Bears on the Cougar 18-yard line.
Call it again at 12 now. Ball on the right hash mark as Treggs comes in motion towards you now. And Taylor will hand it off to Zumwalt on the draw, and he has a little bit of room. Spins off tackler down to the 12-yard line. So gain of 6 for Zumwalt, and a good first down for the Bears.
Well, as soon as I say they're going to abandon the running game, they come with two plays here as Tim Downing's down, holding his knee a little bit, and he may be slowed up a little bit there. Here's the delayed draw, deep to Zumwalt, and pretty good blocking up front. Grayson can't reach to get him soon enough, and he is close to the first down. I guess it's actually a 6-yard pickup, so bring up 2nd and 4. There's Tim Downing down on the field holding his head and obviously in a little bit of pain.
Senior from Durham, California. His relatives had about a 3-hour drive to make their way down here. He was trying to reach across a blocker to make the tackle and got a hand on Zumwalt. Hard to see exactly what Mark Smaha and company are working on with Tim Downing.
He's feeling the ankle a little bit, and you can see Tim jump a little bit there as Mark hit the pressure point. It's one of those deals, does this hurt, does this hurt? Yeah. And so he's going to get up. Hopefully he'll be able to walk that thing off and come back out here and play some more football.
Nice of Troy Taylor to come over and check on him and help him up. Brian Treg says, hope you're okay.
There's Downing in the middle. You can see him being double teamed there. And he's just going to buckle a little bit. He reaches out to try to get that tackle and can't quite make it. Ledbetter and Grayson are the people that have to finish it off. So Cal's driving again. Chance to score. Make this game a little tighter, whether they get the field goal or the touchdown, but they've certainly shown that they can move the ball through the air. Washington State needs a couple big plays now from the defense to stop this drive.
And we will see more of Tim Downing as he has come off the field and is running up and down the sideline now, trying to keep that leg loose. 2nd and 4 from the 12. This is Zumwalt trying the right side. Has a first down and more as he gets down near the 5-yard line.
Well, Zumwalt's come in for Wallace and shown some pretty good ability to get to the corner there. Here they get the man on the end line with Spencer here making the block. There's really no one there as Zumwalt turns a corner, and Grayson and I believe it's Ricard up there have to make the tackle. So first down from the 5, 1st and goal. Cal driving, opportunity to make this again a little bit closer.
2 wide receivers to that short side of the field. And Treg's the left. Here come the Cougars on the blitz, and Ledbetter was picked up by the up-back, and Zumwalt was able to get down to about the 3-yard line. Ledbetter came through a seam untouched, but was picked up by the up-back and could not get to Taylor or Zumwalt.
Well, he timed his stunt perfectly and just was not able to get to the tailback. Alvin Dunn comes up from his free safety position to make that tackle. Opportunity there that was just missed by Ledbetter to maybe cause a fumble in that backfield.
Kirk Westerfield in on the defensive line, the 6'7" sophomore for Washington State. The Bears have pushed it across. Zumwalt, I believe, you got a little tussle going on the goal line as well, as you can see. But the Bears have managed to tack on touchdown number 2 of this contest.
Well, the thing that's disheartening there, if you're Washington State, is really got blown off the ball in those last 3 plays all on the run. And we're unable to make the tackles there as Zumwalt just falls in, kind of trips over the goal line. It wasn't a real powerful play, but not a lot of effort shown by the defensive line to get penetration and make some things happen. So Robbie Keene will come on for the extra point, try to make it 17-14. Washington State still on top, but the gap is definitely narrowed as the defense is unable to keep Cal Bears out of their end zone.
12:25 left to play in the first half. Washington State 17, California 14. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
Well, here's the replay. Troy Taylor's going to give the ball deep to Zumwalt. And I think that's Tony Savage there got a handle on him, but Zumwalt's able to keep his balance and keep the legs driving forward. Motan's not able to finish him off before the goal line, and he falls in for Cal Bear's second score of the day. So we've got a wild one going here. A lot of points are scored so far, and we're just still barely into this second quarter, Bud. Again, we'll have to see what Washington State can do now with their offense. They've shown that they can move the ball. They just need to go down and score again to keep this lead they have.
And you're right. Maybe they ought to just give Cal the ball with good field positions. Keene moves it deep, and Broussard will not handle it. The Cougars will start from the 20. But the 2 times the Bears have had to drive 80 yards, they've scored, and on their short field situations, they haven't been able to move it.
That's right. Washington State just a little bit lackadaisical there on the defensive line. They're not coming across with authority and setting the tempo like their offensive line is here, and you got to give some credit to the Cal Bear offensive line for providing the second string tailback some running room to score there.
Mike Zimmer has the Cougar defense on the sidelines. They're talking about things as Brad Gosson barks out the signals. 10 out of 13 through the air, 119 yards, and the pitch is to Broussard. And he has a seam and gets out to the 24-yard line. Bruce Vidmar was just able to get a handle on Broussard's shoes and bring him down.
Well, Brad's looking out there, and he's seen he's got 3 blockers for Broussard if he can just get around the corner. And he has a good enough block there by, I believe it's Pryor. And instead
Rodney Scott.
Rodney Scott, yeah, to spring Broussard. He just got enough of Odom to turn the corner and pick up about 4.
2nd and 5 from the 25. And the give is to Broussard again, and he tries that left side. He gets stood up by John Delai, who's the nose guard. 6'2" junior out of Fresno. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and call it 3 for the Cougars.
Mike Price is trying to establish his running game again here, and now this is a big first down for the defense. Not so much that the offense can score on this play, but they need to get a first down to let their defense regroup and establish the line of scrimmage on their side, because you don't want them too tired in the first half, much less the second half.
Double tight end look, and Gosson will throw. He's hit from behind. Cornell Collier, we talked earlier that he's the sack specialist, and he picks up his first of the game, and the Cougars are going to have to punt it away.
Well, that's a very big play for the Cal defense. Like I said, it gives their offense the ball again, and their offense has confidence. There's Collier coming from the backside. Gosson is looking to the left side, and Ron Young cannot get off the jam, and Collier comes in untouched. So Washington State and Rob Myers will have to kick the ball away.
Gosson and Mike Price have a conversation on the sideline. Paul Carr, the up back for the Cougars, calling out the signals, and Myers gets the kick away. This is a climbing kick that drives Treggs back to the 29-yard line. He retreats to the 27 and goes down.
Excellent coverage.
Rod Plummer out of Oakland, the sophomore, makes the tackle for Washington State. And the Bears will not have to go 80 yards this time, but it'll be a lengthy drive. They will have the football on their own 31 to get things started.
Well, it was a good snap by Magnuson, so there's none any worry there, I think, from Mike Price, and Rob Meyer really got off a booming kick, and good coverage by Plummer. Again, he's another one who's playing in his own backyard. Now Troy Taylor's going to see if he can direct another drive down.
Zumwalt, and he gets out a good first down gain of about 5 yards, and Cal's offensive line has really taken up the surge.
Well, there again, you can see Washington State is getting in front of these big guys and not putting any pressure. And this again is the delayed draw. Tony Savage fights off his block, and it's really only a 3-yard gain, but that's the type of thing that allows Troy Taylor to now mix it up and perhaps throw a play action pass and freeze the inside linebackers, and opens up a lot of things if you have that running game working.
Back split, Taylor throws the pass, and it's snuffed out by the Cougars. Nice play. Ron Ricard stepped up and saw that one happening to Brian Treggs and dropped him for about a 4-yard loss.
Well, there again, the coaches are giving Ron Ricard a little break and allowing him to play that short underneath flat and not be alone there. You see Alvin Dunn deep, and he's able to come up underneath the block of Ford and make the tackle for a loss. So nice play by the secondary, and Ron Ricard especially one-on-one making that play. Actually 1-on-2 out there.
Troy Taylor, 6'4" senior out of Rancho Cordova. Has 2 wide receivers to the right and just 1 back, and he's going to throw. Has time, throws it over the head of Michael Wright to the tight end, Brent Woodall. And if Michael Wright had just looked back, that was an interception, but he never saw the ball.
Michael Wright has one job, and that's to stay on the hip of Woodall, and he was there. Here you see Taylor dropping back, has pretty good pass protection. Tony Savage fighting to try to get in there, but his only job is to be right on the hip of Woodall, especially in that coverage. Woodall's going to run one route that's going across the field, and Taylor does a nice job of setting that ball right in there for the first down. Really not knowing where the ball is, Michael Wright.
8:50 to play in this first half as Mike Ford goes in motion. Taylor drops straight back. They tried to set up the screen, and he throws it incomplete. Was trying to get it to Zumwalt on the screen, and the Cougars obviously coming in quickly because the offensive line was letting them, but they got the hands in the way of Taylor, and he couldn't find Zumwalt.
Timing just wasn't quite right there, as here you see Bruce Snyder, the California head coach. Coach Snyder was backfield coach in my short career with the Rams. I remember him from those days.
Does he remember you?
No. Wasn't long enough. It wasn't. My name wasn't on the locker long enough for him to remember me.
2nd and 10 for Taylor and the Bears. Cougars showing blitz. Let's see if they come. They don't. The handoff on the delay to Zumwalt, and he's wrapped up. Mark Ledbetter with the tackle. Zumwalt might get a yard on the play.
A little better intensity there on the defensive line, and Ledbetter stunning, showing blitz, walking out of it, and then still remembering his primary responsibility, and that's to stop the run, and he wraps up Zumwalt for really just a yard gain, brings up about 3rd and 8. Again, passing down for California, and Washington State brings in their 5 DB package, bringing Michael Wright and Jay Langland and Alvin Dunn. See if they can stop this wide open offense of California. Taylor looks around and checks off.
Goes to the audible, and Downing is back in, tries to get the rush. That's Dan Weber, and finally Downing, who wraps Taylor up. Dan Weber, the junior out of Bellevue, with the initial pressure, and then Tim Downing finished it off by getting Taylor out of bounds.
Nice job by Weber to get the initial pressure and get upfield and really screen off Taylor. Here you see Downing making his move, and Weber getting in the face, forcing Taylor outside, and Taylor really not having great speed. Does get away. He should have been down right there where the ball hit, but Downing showing good hustle. His ankle's not bothering, and the Cougs stop him, so that's a big play. And again, better intensity by that front line for the defense for Washington State, forcing Keene to punt.
Robbie Keene set to kick it away to John Diggs. See if the Cougars are going to come. They have 10 on the line of scrimmage, looking pretty intent. They don't. They try to contain, and Keene gets a beautiful high kick, and Diggs calls for the fair catch, and it goes into the end zone. Took a big bounce. It hit on the 3, and the Cougars will start with it on their own 20. 7:44 left to play in this first half. Washington State leading it 17-14. The Cougars trying to win game number 7, try to set themselves up for either an unofficial invite to a bowl right now, or set up a situation where a victory over the Washington Huskies in the Apple Cup would definitely give them a bowl bid.
Well, right now, the task at hand is to beat these Cal Bears, who have shown pretty good resiliency in the last couple weeks, beating Arizona after being down 21-zip and then being in that position. Now, here goes Broussard.
Boy, another step through that seam, and he's off to the races, but he gets out to the 30, a pickup of 10, and Broussard now with 94 yards on the day.
That might have been that adjustment we saw down there on the chalkboard where they were showing the counter tray and the pulling of the strong side guard and tackle, and they were looking at widening out those lanes a little bit, and did a good job and made that adjustment the coach was showing on the sideline.
Broussard credited officially with 9 yards because the nose of the football just inside the 30. So second and a fun play call for the Cougars. Play action to Broussard. Gosson wants to throw. Throws the home run ball, and it was intended for Doug Wellsant. Gosson thought that his tight end was going to release, but Wellsant didn't, and the incomplete pass.
Well, that's a play where Wellsant and Gosson have to be thinking the same thing, and what Wellsant saw was his read was his safety was in front of him, so he's supposed to hook up. Gosson stopped the other thing and threw it deep and brings up 3rd and 1. Again, you need to pick up this first down here. Important that the offense keeps the defense off the field.
That was a Cougar shirt, by the way, you can only buy here in Berkeley.
Yeah, it's from 1969.
3rd and inches for Washington State. And you can bet number 31 will get his hands on the football. And he picks up the first down and gets outside and is pushed out at the 41, maybe the 42-yard line. Ron Young with a nice block just held Darren Greer up long enough. And Greer says that's exactly what he was doing. He was holding me, but the official won't call it.
Well, we won't see it here. Here Broussard does what he does so well, and that's run to daylight, like Lombardi used to say. And you can see that Young does have a little bit of jersey there. Greer's trying to get away, but the referee didn't call it, which is good for us. And so Washington State picks up the first down, and they'll be on their own 42, 1st and 10.
Broussard gets some liquid refreshment, and his 13th 100-yard rushing game as a Cougar. That ties him with Reuben Mays for the most ever by a Washington State running back. And this is Rich Swinton, who doesn't have a lot of room, but dances out to about the 45-yard line. Steve Broussard has all kinds of Washington State records. He now has 41 career touchdowns. That's a record. 33 career rushing touchdowns. That's a record. He owns the career scoring mark with now 248 points. And Mike Price just wishes he had the opportunity to coach Steve Broussard a little longer.
Well, it's been a real pleasure for me to watch Steve Broussard throughout his career. I know there'll be a lot of Pac-10 coaches that'll be real happy to see him gone.
Delay handoff to that man Broussard again, gets a block from Curtis Geathers and gets out very close to the first down, and Broussard about a half a yard shy of that first down marker.
Excellent block by Geathers, who's showing me some poise for someone who has not played before. Here you see the block just screening off the corner. That allowed Broussard to get up close to the first down. Be looking at about 3rd down and a half yard, like you said.
Exact same situation the Cougars were in a short while ago.
Well, they've been running to this right side behind Cromer and Garman. They do it again. First down. Gosson just taking the sneak, protecting his thumb, I hope. Getting about 2 or 3, so good offensive surge by the line, and that right side of that offensive line with, like I said, Cromer and Garman have done an excellent job, and there you see the surge from the line and moving those navy blue shirts back. Sorry, go ahead.
Clock's running, and we're inside 6:40 left to play now in this first half of football. Cougars with a 3-point lead and trying to add to it.
Here's an opportunity to go deep.
Instead, they just get the ball into the hands of number 31, who will take it deep on his own. He gets another Cougar first down as Broussard makes the reception. He leads the Pac-10 in all-purpose running with 155 yards a game, and he's very close to that with his couple of catches and his rushing over 100 yards today.
Well, again, Gosson's just going to take what he's been given. Broussard has to turn around to get to that ball, and Broussard turns on the Jets, and a good job by Calvin Griggs there up on top. There was contact, but he didn't initiate it, and he didn't get the clipping call, but it was pretty close. The referee started to go for that flag, but held up.
Broussard at 127 yards right now. This is Rich Swinton, who was able to get just a little bit over the right side as he was following the block of John Husby, the 6'4" senior out of Newport High School in Bellevue. He's looking forward to playing in the Apple Cup over in Seattle.
You always look forward to that one.
Swinton credited with 3 yards on that one. And it's 2nd and 7. Line of scrimmage to 33.
Here's Swinton behind Husby. Husby lays out Ortega, who's probably pretty sore by now already, as the Cougars have really been able to move the ball on the run.
Play action to Swinton. Gosson into the corner for Calvin Griggs. And Doug Parrish almost made a great catch. It was 5-on-5 in the corner, and the one in blue made a great effort.
He almost came up with that ball and had a one-handed chance at it. Gosson put the ball where you have to. Here's the play action to Swinton. He's got man-to-man on top, and he's just going to lay it out over the top. He also had Olsen, you see, running clear. A little contact down there, and just tipped off the hands of Parrish. Good play.
So 3rd and 7 for the Cougars. The ball is on the 33, so if they fail to pick up any yardage, it would be a 50-yard attempt for Jason Hansen. Gosson audibilizing at the line of scrimmage. Bears show blitz. Double tight end. They don't come. Now they do. He gets it off. Olsen can't get it. It was thrown too high. The blitz with Darren Greer coming from his safety spot, and Gosson had to get rid of it just a little sooner than he anticipated, and Jason Hansen will come on to try a 50-yard field goal.
Well, I think Gosson thought he had less time than he really did. I mean, he's ready to throw the ball. He's just going to lob it there and gets it out in time, but it was just a little bit high. He wanted to take a little bit off it and make sure that Olsen had a chance to get there. And it's one of those throws that you kind of halfway in between throwing it hard and lobbing it and just didn't quite get it to it. So now Jason Hansen comes on, and my vote for All-American kicker will have a shot at a 50-yarder here. 5
out of 7 from this range so far this year. One of those misses is from 68. Magnuson with the snap, Myers the hold from the right hash mark. Got plenty of distance. He missed it to the right. He left it out to the right. So the Cougars fail to add to the lead as Hansen had it long enough but missed it right. 5:23 left to play in the first half. It's Washington State 17, California 14. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
The world's greatest collection of Chinese art is on the island of Taiwan. When Chiang Kai-shek fled from the communists in 1949, he took with him the priceless porcelains, jade sculptures, and ceramics of the ancient dynasties. He claimed that these art treasures would help him and his fellow refugees to preserve the traditional Chinese soul on Taiwan. This dance company is another example of how that soul has been preserved in the modern age. But there are other examples on Taiwan of modern culture displacing traditional Chinese culture. Can the Chinese soul survive in the age of McDonald's and MTV? I'm Judy Woodruff. Join me for part 3 of Taiwan, the Other China.
Thursday night at 10, here on Northwest Public Television.
California starts with the football on the 33. They have trips right, with Zumwalt in the backfield behind Taylor. Cougars show blitz. They come. Taylor gets it off in a hurry, and it's caught by Michael Smith. The crossing pattern over the middle, and it will be very close to a Cal first down.
Again, the Cougars sell out on the blitz, leaving that inside drag route open for the wide receiver Smith as he comes across. Taylor buys enough time, delivers the ball off his back foot. Roosevelt Nobles, he's got to cover that route, but he's also got responsibility in man-to-man coverage behind him, and that's a tough responsibility that the defense places on him if they don't get to the quarterback there.
Is that the original play call, or did Smith see that and run that route and Taylor recognized it?
I think that was the original play call. I don't think they audible to that.
Another first down try, and Taylor rolls to the right and lofts it up, and it was caught. Anthony Randolph makes the catch. It was between Chris Moton and Roosevelt Noble, so he finds the seam for a Bear first down.
Again, moving the pocket, Randy Gray gets a good pop on Spencer, the fullback, but Troy Taylor puts it right where it has to be, and I don't know if that ball was in bounds. Looked like when he actually had control of that ball that he was out of bounds there, but the referee was right there and had a pretty good view of it.
8th catch of the year for Randolph, a sophomore out of Oak Grove High School in San Jose. Same high school that produced Jerron Woodley of Washington State. 3 wide receivers for the Bears. That's Junior Tagaloa coming in motion. The only ball thrown to him so far today, he dropped. Taylor out of the backfield is Zumwalt, and he's got some running room. And the Bears are mixing it up on the Cougars and finding little seams. They're just throwing enough receivers out there that Washington State can't get the job done. And it's very similar to what happened against Arizona State.
Well, the first thing that Cal is doing is they're doing a good job of protecting. Here, Troy Taylor is going to sit back nice and comfortable in the pocket and then dump off the delay route to Zumwalt, his tailback, who's got a lot of room to run. Runs against the grain where everybody was flowing with Taylor's eyes and does just a nice job. And now Cal Bears are inside the 30 and threaten to at least tie this game.
On 3 pass plays, they go from the 33 of Cal to the 29 of Washington State. And inside, another first down. Ron Ricard bumps Brian Treggs out of bounds. So Taylor has thrown to 4 different receivers on this drive alone.
Well, here you see him looking downfield all the way, and this is really just a timing route, and Ricard is right there, but Treggs has the ball delivered, and he runs the perfect depth, and it's tough to defense, the perfect throw and catch.
They're going to bring the chains over for a measurement, so Taylor with Smith, Randolph, Zumwalt, and now Treggs as his receivers on this possession, and we'll take a look as the Bears have a first down. And Mike Price trying to shout some encouragement to his defense, who saw Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator, behind him.
Well, I think the thing that Washington State has to do is bring some pressure from the outside, maybe bring Lewis Bush, as we've seen so often in the past, or gamble with a Ricard or someone from the outside, because the inside people for Cal are doing a good job, and you're going to have to get pressure from the perimeter.
Treggs goes in motion, and Taylor rolls to the right, keeps both backs in. Now he's going to run. Kirk Westerfield chasing him from behind, and it's Chris Moton, the junior out of Inglewood, who pushes him out near the 11. So Troy Taylor, number 11, gets down to the 11, gain of 8.
Here you go with Cal setting up in the hinge block technique by the offensive lineman, and allows Trey Taylor to get outside. Here he's looking downfield. The defensive secondary has to honor his capability to throw the ball in there, and he takes 9 on the rush. The hinge block, turn sideways, and don't let him through the door.
Okay. 2nd and 2 from the 11. 4:10 left to play in the first half. Mike Ford goes in motion. Handoff goes inside to Zumwalt, and he gets down near the 10 before he stood up. Fun to be a running back in that situation, because you're being hit by about 3 defensive guys, and then James Richard, the 6'5", 275-pound guard for the Bears, gets on your back because you're still standing up and tries to push you further.
That's right. You're the salami in the sandwich. Well, the Cougs need to stiffen up if they want to stay on top of this ball game, and you're seeing some substitution on the defensive line to give people like Downing and Gray a rest, because, again, they're spending a lot of time. It'll be interesting to see what the time of possession is, but I would say that Cal Bears have really dominated, well, not dominated, but had their share, and they're probably leading in time of possession.
Troy Taylor is going to try to add to that 181 yards, but he wants a timeout to talk it over. The Bears will talk things over. We'll take a timeout. 3:27 left to play first half. Cougars 17, Bears 14. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
Wednesday, Bill Moyers examines the power and influence of market researchers on the public mind.
We didn't discover our values in a poll taken a week before the convention.
Or did he? Do professional pollsters manipulate research to change voters' perceptions? Join Bill Moyers for a look at politics, advertising, public lies, and popular opinion. Wednesday, join Bill Moyers for Part 2 of The Public Mind.
President Eisenhower appoints Governor Earl Warren of California as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Some called Earl Warren the greatest American justice of the 20th century. Others said he put handcuffs on the police, let blacks into the classroom, and drove God out. Was he hero or villain? Watch Super Chief, narrated by Gregory Peck.
Wednesday, 9 at 10, here on Northwest Public Television.
Here's a look at the press box area of Memorial Stadium on a nice sunny afternoon, although the sun had gone away for a while, but it's back out trying to fight its way through the haze and the smog.
This is an interesting play call for Coach Snyder and Troy Taylor here, as it's 3rd and 2 on their own 10, and they can pick up the first down, or do they want to go to the end zone? And I think they're probably going to try to run the ball. We'll see if Washington State can hold them here and force a field goal.
2 tight ends and a running back lined up in a spot where it's almost like a 3rd tight end, and they hand it off to Zumwalt. He's got the first down. Roosevelt Noble finally wrapped him up, but Zumwalt got down near the 5-yard line. Taylor already this afternoon has passed John Pay, the former Stanford quarterback, on the Pac-10 career total offensive charts. His next victim, Jack Thompson, who is about 60 yards away now.
Well, there you see Zumwalt getting pretty good blocking on 3rd and short, and Washington State knew where he was going to come, but just didn't have the people make the right plays. And now we've got 1st and goal from the 5 for Troy Taylor and the Cal Bears.
Backs in the eye behind Taylor. He's going to throw it into the corner and sends it for Ford. Touchdown, California. Troy Taylor and Mike Ford hook up on the 5-yard touchdown pass.
Perfectly thrown ball by Taylor as he just takes his 1-step, 2-step, and lets it go to the corner. And he picked the right guy to work on because that's Alvin Dunn on the coverage. And Alvin, being a strong safety, probably doesn't work on that type of route as much as maybe the corner Ricard or Roosevelt Noble did. So a good decision by Troy Taylor to make that thing happen, picking the right defensive player to go after and delivered the ball perfectly. So now Keene has a chance to put Cal up by 4, making this extra point, and it's 21-17. Now the Cal Bears go on top of Washington State.
So the Bears take the lead on the second touchdown catch of the year by Mike Ford. Drive goes 67 yards, 8 plays for the Bears as they have come from behind like they did last week to take the lead. But we still have plenty of football to play as the Bears have a 4-point lead right now. And don't miss live Pac-10 football action next Saturday. That'll be November 18th, and you'll get a chance to see a fun game. The California Golden Bears and the Stanford Cardinal, the big game, and it'll be in Palo Alto this year. Next Saturday, 3:30, live only on Prime Sports Northwest.
Well, the tempo has been set. It's going to be an offensive thriller. Washington State, unable to capitalize on their last drive, gave the Bears pretty good offensive field position by missing the field goal, allowing them to start their drive from their own just about 40-yard line. And Troy Taylor had no problem at all going down the field, picking really the defensive part. And it's a lack of pressure on Troy Taylor that has been allowing him to sit back and make those passes. And actually a pretty good job by Cal to fix it up as far as the play calling.
Keene's kick, a line drive that goes through the end zone, and Broussard won't handle it. So again, the Cougars will start on the 20-yard line. So Washington State moved from the 20 to the 33 of California on their last possession, and Jason Hansen missed a 50-yard field goal. He's a young Bear fan. You can see the wind's not blowing much anymore.
Well, now it's up to Gosson and the line to establish things on the ground again and get Broussard the ball and move it on down the road.
There's Broussard on the draw, and he's got all kinds of room out to the 35-yard line. Finally, Doug Parrish able to wrap him up.
The Bears have given up a lot of yardage on the ground all season long, and here again is the draw. They just let the defensive linemen take themselves out of the play, don't even really have to block them, and Parrish has to come out and make the tackle after a 15-yard pickup by Washington State.
Trips left for the Cougars. Broussard goes in motion. Quick drop. Jody Sears with the catch. Bruce Vidmar with the tackle. Cougars with the ball on the 41.
Jody's telling the referee that hurt a little bit, and he looks like he's hurt his finger. Here Gosson's just going to step back and deliver the ball very quickly, and be interesting to see if Jody's going to be able to come back. It might be one of those things where the finger gets dislocated, and the last thing that Mike Price wants is another one of his wide receivers out for the game, and you see Smaha looking at it.
He'll tape it up. Jody's a rodeo man. He'll be back.
Spit on it. It'll be fine.
Mike Price, who went to school, played a little football at Washington State, was a graduate assistant coach at Washington State, an assistant coach at Washington State, and now the head coach of the Cougars, and has a 6-3 record coming into this one. Would like to tack on number 7, but the Cougars will have to come from behind as the Bears have rallied. It's Cal 21, Cougars 17. Gosson, all kinds of time, dumps it out to Broussard, and it's going to go for no gain.
Well, the thing the Cougars have to keep in mind now is that the clock is down at 1:51, and if they are going to score, they're going to have to move it down the field a little quicker than they evidenced on that last play where Gosson just sat back there, really couldn't find anybody deep, and had to dump the ball off to Broussard for really no gain.
And this will be a big possession for Washington State because of the fact that they will have to kick the football to the Bears to start the second half. Gossen has thrown it 19 times already in this half.
Well, here I think you look for Olson or Wellston. All you need is the 6 yards for the first down and let them work a little bit. Nope, he's going to give it to Broussard.
And he's not going to get the first down. They mark his progress out at about the 44-yard line. And let's see the decision that Mike Price makes. He's going to send Rob Myers on. Not going to give the Bears another opportunity at the football with good field position with 1:47 left. They're going to call Myers on to try to boot it away.
Well, Mike Price tried to cross him up there, and the Cal Bears played tough defense against the run on 3rd and 6. And nice job by the Cal Bears to not be lulled to sleep that Broussard wasn't back there.
Cougars have fake punted successfully twice this year, snapping the ball to Paul Carr, and he goes right up the middle. Magnuson snaps it deep. Myers kicks it away. And it's a low kick, and Treggs runs up and makes the catch on the run and then retreats and loses yardage. Boy, had he kept going straight, he might have gotten by a couple of Cougar defenders and gone quite a ways, but he retreated, and Rod Olson, who made the tackle, appears to be banged up.
I think he rolled his ankle also. He came in and made a tackle, and here you see Triggs doing a real good job coming up and fielding the ball, not letting it to go downfield anymore. And here's Olson, and I think he's just going to roll over that ankle. You can see it hit right there, and Mark Samaha is working with Rod, and I hope he's okay. The Cougars are already banged up enough that it is can't afford to lose a player of Olson's quality.
Olson, the senior out of Walnut Creek, and as you see, Mike Price has made his way out to check on his player. 1:38 left to play in this first half. The Bears now have a 4-point lead and the football. You see California with 2 timeouts, and the Cougars have 3.
This turf, I recall from my playing days, it was very sticky. In other words, it's very spongy, especially on a warm day, and I think that's why you're seeing all the ankles and knees, is because it really reaches up and grabs you. It's difficult just to, at least it was for me, just to run on the field, much less not get hurt out there.
All right, we've got some basketball action coming up for you on Prime Sports Northwest. And had a great game between the Sonics and the Milwaukee Bucks. The 5 overtime game earlier. The Sonics, as they take on the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan on November 18th at 7 p.m. Then on Sunday, November 19th, you can catch NBA action, the Sonics and the Portland Trailblazers. That'll be live at 7.
Well, the Bears have an opportunity here to move the ball down the field, and Washington State's in their prevent defense, but Troy Taylor's going to try to go to work.
And he throws one into a crowd, and there were 5 Cougars and 1 Bear. The Bear was Michael Smith, and he didn't get any of it. Washington State with 20 interceptions, and when they've picked off 2 passes or more a game, they've won. 2 games they've only picked off 1 pass. Arizona and USC, they lost. They did not pick off a ball against Arizona State. They lost that one.
Well, there, Dan Weber did a good job of getting to Troy Taylor. He was going to do that semi-rollout, and he made him pull up and then got some pressure, and Troy Taylor might have got away with him because that was in a crowd of Cougars there.
2nd and 10 for the Bears. Ball on the 18. Minute 33 left to play in the half. And Zumwalt gets out to about the 23. And let's see if either the Cougars or the Bears will call timeout. So far, nobody has.
Well, with a minute 20 left to go, the Cougars might want to call a timeout here and at least get a shot at maybe blocking a punt. If they're going to let the clock run here, again, I'm thinking Jason Hansen in the back of my mind to get any type of short punt if you can hold here, and you've got an opportunity for 3 points.
Clock continues to move, and it's now at a minute to play in the first half as the Bears have 3 wide receivers to the right side. And Taylor drops straight back. He throws over the middle and has his man Michael Smith, or did he drop the football? His back was to us, so they're going to call it a catch. They are, so it's a first down. Stops the clock while they move the chains.
Michael Smith just being able to catch that ball and turn around and fall down for the first down gives Troy Taylor a couple more shots at it.
Taylor dumps it to Zumwalt out of the backfield, and he is brought down before he can get the first down and before he can get out of bounds. So the clock will roll, and it's at 40 seconds of moving down. And the Bears, with 2 timeouts, don't make a move to stop it. Gets a groan from the crowd. They will snap it with about 30 seconds left to play in the first half. Taylor dumps it over the middle to Zumwalt again. goal territory as they're down to the 41-yard line. 22 seconds, and the clock is stopped while they move the chains.
Again, Washington State playing in their prevent, getting plenty of depth from the underneath covers. The problem is Zumwalt's just going to walk out of the backfield, makes a nice move there on, I think it was Garabedian, and then Ledbetter has to bring him down, but that was about a 15-yard gain and gives Robbie Keene reason to get up off the bench and warm his leg up, because we've seen him in the pre-games and he can boot it a long way. So another 2 completions here, and they're in plenty of room and threatening to score. I guess the worst-case scenario now is that Keene tries for a field goal from long distance.
22 seconds and 1 timeout. Ideally, you like to keep that timeout to be able to get your field goal team out on the field. So you would anticipate the Bears would try to throw maybe a quick out and then try that one pass over the middle again and then use the timeout to get the field goal team on. They lead at 21-17 and would like to add that 3 points to make it a 7-point bulge at halftime. As you take a look at Brent Woodall, the rest of the gang for the Bears in the backfield, Junior Tagaloa.
Well,
Troy Taylor's had a nice first half.
He's had a great first half. He's stayed away from the interception also, which has been haunting him earlier on in the season.
Taylor going to the audible at the line of scrimmage. Over the middle, and it's up. 15 seconds, and the Bears will throw it one more time.
Well, they've got at least 2 more plays here. They could take a shot at the end zone if they elect to. The Cougars, again, in their prevent, played that one well, but had the fluke play, and there's the throw to the end zone. Kicked off.
Intercepted. John Diggs with the interception, and the Cougar defense thwarts the Bears.
Well, all series, that whole drive right there, the Cougars were playing prevent, and they were way back, again, trying not to let the home run ball hurt them. And John Diggs was right there and sneaking in from his center field position. Troy Taylor really tried to gun the ball in there, but the play goes for naught as far as Cal is concerned, and an opportunity to add 3 and go up by 7 goes away. Nice play by John Diggs here as he goes up hard and then runs into Ricard. But that's an interception, and a pretty big interception, because it keeps the Cougars within 4 points as opposed to 7, and keeps them out of the end zone.
And with 7 seconds left and the ball on the 2, Gosson will take the snap and step forward, and that will be the final play of the first half. So the Cougars moved the football with ease and then had some problems. California moved the football with ease. And we have a 21-17 game with the California Bears leading the Washington State Cougars at halftime. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
We're going to tell you a love story. But first, there are a few things you should know about love. The first time you fall in love, you may fall apart. The last time you fall in love, it's not necessarily any easier. There is no safe course. There are no rules, and there are no promises. Giving your heart to someone is not something to be done lightly. You may not get it back. And writing love letters can be risky. They may just get you what you want. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature and author of 100 Years of Solitude and Love in the Time of Cholera, has written a story where everyone gets what they really want. Letters from the Park, next time on Great Performances.
Friday night at 9, here on Northwest Public TV.
California Bears will have the football and a chance to add to their lead as we start the second half. Washington State averting California, building the lead any bigger with the interception by John Diggs. There's a look at some of the Cougar fans sitting in the lower seats, and a good contingent of Cougars in the corner portions of California's Memorial Stadium as they are trying to root the Cougars on to victory. And they had some things to shout about early as Brad Gosson had all kinds of time to throw and was able to hit Robert Scooter Stogner on the pass down to the 1-yard line.
From there, Broussard takes it behind Paul Carr, and in for the touchdown for the first score that was real easy as the Cougars went up quickly 7-zip, and then Troy Taylor brought Cal back and hits Michael Smith in the corner over Ron Ricard. Really a nice catch by Michael Smith for the touchdown that made it 7-all.
And Washington State was able to answer with Steve Broussard on a draw. Broussard with 128 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. Interesting, 128 yards. His longest carry was 15 yards as he had 20 attempts. And Troy Taylor going upstairs again. So following a Jason Hansen field goal, Washington State had a 17-7 lead. As Brian Treggs, who was the leading receiver for the Bears in the first half, had the catch there.
I think this is the interception here where John Diggs comes across from his free safety position, playing back on the hash mark, and is able to stop that last drive. There's Gosson warming up. He, had a pretty good first half.
13 out of 19, 136 yards.
And really did a good job of directing the team and putting the ball where it has to be. We don't have any turnovers on offense, so I think the offense is doing their part. Need to have a little consistency because they haven't put together a long drive since those first early scores in the first quarter. And so it'll be up to the offense to, again, maintain the ball. Here you see the halftime statistics, first downs, even the big thing that shows up in the second line is Steve Broussard contributing 128 yards of that 140. And then you go down farther, and Troy Taylor has lit it up for 237 yards through the air. So really a pretty balanced game so far from the offensive and sides of both sides of the ball. And the second half, I think we'll probably see more of the same.
Hansen to kick off, and Taylor with those 237 yards passing is now tied with Tom Tunnicliffe, the former Arizona quarterback, for 7th on the Pac-10 career passing charts, and he's climbing up, taking aim at John Pay, and he should pass John Pay as well. And again, he's 11 yards shy of Jack Thompson, former Cougar All-American quarterback, on the total offense charts in Pac-10 career listings. The Bears will start with it on the 21 after the return, so that's a good omen, I guess, for Washington State, because every time the Bears have had the football to start a drive on the 20, they've scored.
Well, let's start them on the 21 and not score.
Make it a little different.
That's right. Let's do something different here on defense, and we'll see what the coaches did at halftime to maybe get a little more pressure on Troy Taylor.
Taylor straight drop and dumps it over the middle, and that was Tim Jenkins who made the catch and was hammered by Lewis Bush. For Jenkins, his first catch of the afternoon is the sophomore out of San Bernardino. Jenkins started at fullback against Washington State last year and had 89 yards on the ground.
Well, here they're doing the same thing. They're just faking the deep draw delay, and then he's going to check off to Jenkins, and I believe Lewis Bush puts a good shoulder tackle on him for a 5-yard gain. Troy Taylor doing the right things, though.
And off the Zumwalt on the delay, and he's got a first down, but it's going to come back. A flag in the backfield, and I believe we've got a hold coming against the Bears.
Yeah, Ledbetter was coming up to make that play, and somebody reached out and grabbed him and pulled him away from being able to make that play. Otherwise, he would have stuffed Zumwalt right in the hole. So that one will all come back. Here you see Ledbetter coming up, and you can see he's just turned around there, and I think it was the center who came out and just pulled him around and got caught. So that'll step it off 10 yards against the Cal Bears, and that'll bring up about 2nd and 15 then.
Offense, 10 yards from the previous spot, repeat second down.
So it'll be 2nd and 16, and the line of scrimmage will be back on the 15, just outside the 15-yard line. Anthony Wallace, the starting running back for Bruce Snyder, injured in the first half and a left knee, and will not be back today.
Quite frankly, they've probably been more effective with Zumwalt, catching the ball well and running the ball pretty well as he showed there, but the holding negated it.
And this is Zumwalt again, and he gets out across the 20, out to about the 22-yard line. Chris Moton, Dan Grayson in on the stop for Washington State.
That was Wiedemeyer coming in the ball game there, a new tailback, got a little action in there and picked up a couple there, so it'll bring up 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, and this has been the play that's been there. The series, I guess, has been keeping the Cal Bears in there as they've been able to convert these 3rd and longs, and it's the situation the Cougars want them in. It's just you got to execute on defense here.
Tagaloa goes in motion, and Taylor to throw, rolling out. He's pressured Marlon Brown there, and Taylor hit as he threw it away. He was just trying to get rid of that one, avoiding the sack.
Marlon Brown does a good job of getting upfield and forcing Taylor out of his nice, comfortable arc as he goes on the rollout, and never allows him to get his shoulder square to throw that ball. So defense comes up with a pretty good series, and hopefully that will continue on the second half, is getting the Cal Bears in the positions where they have to do something, throw it a little farther than they want to. But Keene will come on now to punt, and the Cougs should end up with pretty good field position here if they can just take care of the ball on the punt here.
Keene punted twice, 45-yard average in the first half. John Diggs back deep for Washington State. Cougars don't come after Keene, and he gets away another high, wobbly spiral that will be fielded by Diggs at the 28. And he gets a block and gets out to about the 33. So about a 5-yard return by John Diggs, and the Cougar offense will come out to operate for the first time in the second half with Brad Gosson at quarterback. And Gosson 13 out of 19, 136 yards in that first half. Broussard 20 carries, 128 yards. Scooter Stogner had 1 catch. Rod Olson 2, Doug Wellsent 3, and Broussard had 3. There you see Broussard with 144 all-purpose yards in the first half. He leads the Pac-10 in that category, and he has about 6 or 7 yards on that first down carry.
He's one of those backs that gets better the more that you get him the ball, and I think the same strategy will apply here in the second half. Is let's continue to pound and pound away at this Cal Bear defensive front 7. And you can see there that everybody's got their man neutralized, people falling down trying to make tackles instead of standing up in the hole. And so the bruiser rips through there for a good first down gain, and it'll bring up second and about 3. And this makes the play calling a little easier here as the Cougs go trips down to the near side.
Stogner, Young, and Sears, the wide receivers. Broussard will try the right side. Husby and Norvell blocking, and it's close to a first down. The bruiser, 5'7", 201-pound senior, Manual Arts High School in Los Angeles. With John Husby, the senior out of Bellevue, and Robert Norvell, the junior out of Vancouver, leading the way on the blocks.
Well, here comes Husby. You see he's tripped up, but it has the athletic ability to get back on and make a hit anyway on the outside linebacker for Cal, and Broussard is able to pick and hide behind those guys and pick up the first down. And this is the way the first half started off, with Washington State being able to run the ball, and I'd like to see him continue that process.
Double tight end look for the Cougars. And Broussard will get another opportunity on the right side and cuts it back across the midfield stripe to the 49.
Boy, he's got quick feet as he dances in there, and he just has that unique ability. Those short, stocky legs can get it up and get it down, and he has the quick feet to go along with it. Here you'll see, again, Husby and Norvell this time leading around the right side. Norvell gets his man along with Wilson, creates a little seam, and Broussard picks up and then another good first down carry of about 7 yards.
Gosson has yet to throw it in the second half. Cougars in California territory. Second and short, and Broussard will try it again. Cuts it back up and has yet another first down.
Boy, it looks easy, doesn't it? He just will try the right side, then go to the left side and motor along. Good blocking, no flags, and that's a good first down again as the Cal Bears are on their haunches now trying to figure out how to get a hold of Mr. Broussard. Comes around, good straight ahead blocking here. I think the lead back is Paul Carr.
Actually, Rodney Scott in the lineup.
Rodney Scott there, okay.
Young man out of Tacoma.
But anyway, he did a good put a block on the strong safety and allowed Broussard to pick up a few more.
Desmond Clayton in at wide receiver. This is Swinton who will give it a try, and he tries to keep the leg drive going and might have got a yard on forward progress. David Ortega came into this game needing 7 tackles to pass Hardy Nickerson and become the all-time tackler for the California Bears.
I think he's got that. I think he's over the 500 tackle mark. Just barely over at 502.
That was the one that did it.
And that's a lot of tackles, and he's a solid player, and he's got a future in the pros after he's done here at Cal.
Gosson to throw for the first time in the second half, and on a comeback pattern, he finds Calvin Griggs, who takes a big hit on the shoulder that's hurt. And let's see how well he's able to get up.
Well, the thing he's
holding on a little bit.
Yeah, he's holding on to his left arm a little bit, and you can see it dragging. He's a little sore there, but does a good job of coming back. He settles down in his hook route, finds the seam, and does a good job of coming back to the ball. He's going to make sure that no one gets there before he does. And that pop hurt a little bit, but he did pick up the first down. Good job by Calvin Griggs playing playing with a little pain today.
Junior out of Rome, New York, and Mark Smaha was there to help him out. Rodney Scott is lined up in the slot. Broussard up the middle. And this time he was pushed back. One of the few times that the Bears have managed to push him back. Sean Ashleman, number 50, and number 47, Bruce Vidmar, a couple of backup middle linebackers in there.
Well, this time there was no room, and Broussard is going to do the good thing and try to create some. Put his head down and tried to slip through there, but a good tackle by Ashleman and stopped Broussard for one of the few times this drive. So that brings up 2nd down and 8, and the Cougs might go to the air here. Quick pass, Sears, did he make the catch? And he took a helmet in the lower back and is holding that lower back as he lays on the ground, and Curtis Gathers says you better come out. So Jody Sears has been involved in 3 plays, and through each play he's come up holding something. First an elbow, then a hand, and now the back. Well, you can see his fingers are all taped up, so he's hanging in there from that, but he got his leg folded in underneath him and kind of had to go down and dig that ball out. Gosson didn't really fire the ball, just kind of floated on the quick release, and I think Jody will be okay. It just kind of twisted in there funny, and I'm not sure if it's the back or the hip, the backside of the buttocks there, but he looks to be okay as he walks off with.
He says that's easy for you to say.
That's right.
Okay.
He's got the little bow leg action going there, but
looks like he just got up from roping a calf. One of the.
It only feels like the calf.
3rd and call it 3 for the Cougars. Jody during the summers very active on the rodeo circuit. Probably remember his older brother Cotton who played for the Cougars. The crowd trying to inspire the Bear defense. They look like they're going to come with the blitz, and Gosson's going to audible. So whether they blitz or not, they've made the Cougars change the play call, and they do blitz and they get Gosson. And the crowd comes to life. Ron English coming in from a safety spot for the sack.
Well, that's a problem for Gosson. He's got 2 rookie receivers up top, Rodney Scott in the slot back and Curtis Gathers at the wide receiver position, and they don't understand what he's telling them to do. And I think in that situation, you've just got to line up with your best people and give the ball to Broussard. Good gamble, I guess, by Cal, and they'll force Washington State to go for 3 here.
Hansen will try it from 44 yards out. He missed a 50-yarder going the other direction before. Snap is good, spot is good. He's got the distance, and it's good. So Jason Hansen connects from 44. 8:44 left to play in the 3rd quarter. It's California 21, Washington State 20. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
Thursday on Mystery. A killer stalks the art world.
2 deaths already. Don't you find that sinister, Inspector?
While his victim's paintings disappear.
It's got a bottle from somewhere, that's for sure. And somebody poisoned it.
Campion sets a trap for the suspect, using himself as bait.
What a suspicious mind you have. I suppose it's an occupational hazard.
But who will really have the last laugh? Thursday, don't miss Campion on Mystery.
You're watching Northwest Public Television, KWSU Pullman, and KTNW, Richland, Kennewick, and Pasco.
Jason Hansen with an official 43-yard field goal pulls the Cougars within a point.
I guess as Mike Price, I'm a little concerned because I haven't been able to punch the ball in for 7 points here lately, that each time I get down and I get in a crucial situation, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, I haven't been able to come through and face that blitz that I know has been coming. So something you might look for is the passing game to Broussard. Those short yardage situations, you don't have the time to get the ball to your wide receivers, but you do have the time to flick it to Broussard going away from that blitz. So you got to make a little adjustment there on those situations.
As we watch Hansen boot this ball away, and he will hang it high, and it will be fielded by Greer too deep to bring back out. One thing that's interesting, this is very much a big play Washington State offense, but Broussard's longest run is 15 yards, and the longest pass completion is 19 yards.
Well, we mentioned that Coach Snyder's defensive philosophy today is play back and guard against that long ball or big play ball, and so far it's been marginally successful. in keeping the Cougars from the big play. They have scored 20 points here, and it looks like they can move the ball. It's just they need to execute on those crucial plays, those 3rd and 5s.
Trips right for the Bears, and Troy Taylor on 1st down, and here comes Randy Gray. And that could very well be intentional grounding.
They're going to
call it in the grass. It's the old NFL in the grass rule there. And that's actually a break for the Bears because that ball was thrown by Taylor in the middle of 4 offensive linemen, and there was no receiver anywhere near.
Well, he was definitely just dumping that ball off. A good job by Randy Gray. You see the little game they're playing, the little loop, and there's no way that he's trying to complete that ball to anybody. And the official made the ruling that he was down there, and this allows Washington State to be aggressive now and really come after the Bears on the defensive line because they've got 2nd down and about 25.
Loss of 14. Anthony Randolph goes in motion for the Bears. Out of the eye, this is Zumwalt, and he is stood up by Dan Weber at the 7. Big hit by Dan Weber, the junior out of Bellevue, and it's 3rd and forever for the Bears.
Well, that's a pretty conservative play against a prevent type of defense. They decide to run the eye back off the left tackle, and Randy Weber just does a good job, gets his hands on his offensive tackle and slides down with him, controls him, and then puts a picture-perfect tackle on Zumwalt. And that makes it 3rd and a bunch, probably 22. And Troy Taylor's got his work cut out for him here. This is a big play for Washington State's defense because you want to contain these guys and get their offense back on the field.
2 tight ends for the Bears. Anthony Grandison is in. Their number 2 tight end, normally Ken Griggs, is out with a knee injury. Taylor wants to throw. He's pressured. Now he's going to have to run it. Garabedian chasing him from behind, and they are able to get him out of bounds. Let's see where they spot the ball. He dove for the 1st down marker. It's going to be very close.
One official has it marked at the 28, and Troy Taylor dove there, and so he won't be close. It looked like across the field here that he might have had a chance, but the official marks the spot at the 28. Nice effort by Troy Taylor, but he comes up 2 yards short. Nice job of scrambling.
You can hear the reaction from the fans to the spot.
Yeah, here he sees, and Marlon Brown can't quite get him from behind. Garabedian's pursuing from inside out. And there you'll see his foot goes out of bounds right there at the 28 when he went for the dive. And so a good call by the official right there on the scene. Forces Robbie Keene to punt, and good job again by the defense, not letting any drive get started.
Keene to punt it away for the 2nd time of the half, and John Diggs back deep to receive just inside his own 30. Crushed it. Keene is doing a great job. He drives Diggs back to let it bounce, and it's going to hit right at the 10, and the Cougars are not going to have good field position at all. Diggs had to make a decision and just decided to get out of the way. Keene with a 60-yard punt, and the Bears doing a nice job as Dwayne Jones is there to drop it down, and the Cougars are going to have a long field staring them in the face.
Well, you kind of question that call. It was one of those things where maybe John Diggs looked up into the sun and said, I'm not even going to mess with this, hoping he hit that thing so well it'll go in the end zone, but it caught on this spongy turf, and Cougs got their work cut out for him. Have to go 88 yards to make this one happen.
A couple of 80-yard drives early, and David Ortega says hello to Steve Broussard.
Well, one of the few times that Ortega has had an opportunity to clear shot at Broussard, as he wasn't blocked well on this play at all, and you'll see him come right through and get to Broussard before he has an opportunity to turn on the Jets, and he's excited about that play. Good play by Ortega, who's got 500 and a bunch more now, setting new records every time he makes a tackle.
We saw the reaction of Ortega after that stop, and the Cougar defense showed some emotion on that last series. It's really the first time today we've seen the defenses show any emotion, and you're going to see plenty more from the Bears as Broussard again is wrapped up in the backfield.
Well, a good job by, again, the Washington State's had their way, and maybe they're getting a little lackadaisical, not making the moves. Good penetration by Odom, who really gets in the way and takes on, I believe it was Matt Simonette in for Garmin, who wasn't able to make that play, and Odom just did a good job of getting in the way there, bringing up 3rd and 12 now for Gosson, and this will be an interesting play call again for Mike Price. You probably have to look for some type of play action here, maybe a delay route, that type of thing to Broussard. You don't want to be too aggressive down here in your own side end of the end zone.
Gosson steps up away from the pressure, dumps it out to Wilson at the tight end. He makes a move to get by Greer, but he's shy of the 1st down.
Well, that was dangerously close to a safety, but Gosson very comfortable in his capabilities. The thing that he doesn't do is get the ball to, here you see him down in his own end zone whirling around, and what he does, he lobs the ball out here to Wellstant, and he just really didn't give him an opportunity to run with the ball. Wellstant does a good job of trying to get the first down, but came up about a half yard short. And they're going to measure it, so...
Mike Price was asking for it. I don't know why, because from where the markers are, it's very close to a yard short.
Well, maybe he was thinking with the earthquake down here, there might have been a shift in the field, but I don't think so. It's well short.
Actually closer than what it appeared from our angle, but still not enough for a first down. And Rob Myers will...
So the
reason why Mike Price wanted the measurement, he wanted to see just how far they had to go. He's bringing the offense back on the field. There's a gamble as Bruce Snyder looks on and says, this is interesting. The Cougars are at their own 22.
Well, this is maybe Mike Price is feeling that, hey, if we're good enough to be in a bowl team, we can prove it right here. At 4th and inches, we don't want to get our defense back on the field. They've been playing their hearts out so far. Let's go and see if we can make something happen here, you know, and maybe an opportunity where you just try to draw the defense offside.
Yeah, exactly. They may not snap the ball. Cornell Collier is being helped off the field for the Bears. He was shaken up on the last play. You see it at the top of your screen. Let's see if they actually go for it. They've got the 2 tight end look with Olson and Wellsant. And Broussard in the backfield. And the crowd rises to the occasion. Gosson sneaks in and has the first down. So Mike Price decides to gamble.
That is one gutty call right there. That
and
is
the
an
Cougars keep
individual
that
is not real concerned what the fans or what anybody might second guess him, that he believes in his team. And again, the key will be the spot here and where the ball is marked. But from all indications, if he does get 6 inches, that he should have had the first down, and we can't tell right now, looking at from this angle, whether or not they've got it, but I would assume that they do.
It appears that they do from where the ball is spotted, but again, the angle is a difficult one.
Yeah.
You see the surge on the right side, and there's a little bit of a seam, and that's where Gosson tried to step it in. And it is by the length of the football enough for a Cougar first down.
Gutty call, very gutty call, and that might be the one that wins this football game. But you don't often see that type of decision made down that far in your own end of the field. And it works, so Mike Price is a genius, and the Cougars have 1st and 10.
Let's see what the Cougars can do with a fresh set of downs now. Play fake. All kinds of time. Wellsant is open, and he just lobs it right to him. And Wellsant across the 40 to the 43-yard line. So Doug Wellsant, who had 3 catches in the first half, has 2 here in the second half.
Well, that was real interesting. The play action here that's been working so well, Odom had been coming down the line and making that play on the counter tray, whatever you want to call it. So they take advantage of it and leak Wellstant about 15 yards down the field, and it's a first down for the Cougars. A nice choice of plays there by Mike Price and Billy Dietrich up here in the box, seeing that thing is available.
Gosson completing 70% of his passes coming in, and he's done a little bit better than that today. The handoff on the draw to Broussard, and he has some room, runs over a couple of Cal players and an official, and gets out near the midfield stripe as Bruce Vidmar, who's seeing a lot of action, senior out of Carson City, making the stop.
What happens on that play is here comes the Bears with 4-man rush, and it's really a trap. And you can see that what they'll do is let the defensive tackle come upfield, and then they'll come across and trap him about 2 yards deep in the backfield. And it's been a very effective play for Washington State.
Ball at the Cougar 49. And Broussard will get it again. We got a flag thrown as Broussard is wrestled down right at the midfield stripe.
Well, the area that thing is thrown is really probably holding on Rod Olson. And we'll have to wait and see what the call is, but that area, and there's Husby talking about it, he's not happy with it, so it may be on him. But really, that's the first penalty that we've seen on the offensive line today. There's been a couple of pass interferences, but really it's been a pretty cleanly played game today. Can't see Husby, you can't see where the holding really occurred on that replay there.
Repeat second down.
But that'll make it, what do we have, about
second and 14
Second
now.
14, that's right. So plenty of opportunity to get it in 2 plays left here.
Rich Swinton comes in for Broussard, and Robert Norvell replaces Matt Simonette. Al Kasner, who was in on that last tackle, number 96, was holding his hand.
Here's the blitz that we've been seeing, and see what kind of play call Gosson is. He's checking out, and he's got to get the ball off quickly.
5 seconds left to snap it. Here comes the blitz. Blind side, gets away from it. Steps up and finally is brought down. And again, perhaps a situation where the 2 wide receivers, Geathers and Clayton, a couple of freshmen, inexperienced and didn't adjust.
Those aren't the people that you're got to go to make this play happen. Again, here you see the backside pressure of the corner blitz. Just got a hand on him to knock him outside. Was Wilson coming, and Dawson tucks it up, gets the pressure coming back. Again, good hustle by the defensive pressure from Cal. So that brings up third and 18. And to get this in 1 play will be a test for Gosson.
Inside of 3 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Wanted Broussard, but he was covered. Gosson will step it up and step down. He gets only 3 back, and now Rob Myers will come on to punt it away. And a nice ovation for the Bear defense.
Well, the same thing that's been hurting Cal has been the penalties and the sacks, and it turns the tables, and now the Goose has to try to get some yardage, and that obviously wasn't the play. They're really missing the deep ball threat, Stallworth obviously being out, and also C.J. Davis. They really don't have the opportunity to stretch that secondary north and south, and makes it tough on the Gossip. Oh, bad
snap. Myers does a nice job to pick it up and get it away, and kicks it out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Mark it at the 22. So we talked about Paul Wolf not being here, and a new snapper, Quinn Magnuson, and he had problems on that one, but the Cougars got a break.
Boy, did he have problems. That ball just barely got back to Meyer, who does a good job, first of all, feeling the punt. Bruce Snyder is saying, ooh, that was an opportunity, because the one time we don't have the rush. Here you see the ball on the ground, takes a good hop for Myers, and he's able to get it off without having it blocked. And the Cougars, again, were fortunate that Cal wasn't coming with any type of block on.
The Cougar defense has stopped Cal on 3 plays each time the Bears have had the football in the second half. This time Zumwalt on the carry and a decent gain on first down.
Zumwalt's done a good job this afternoon filling in for Wallace, who left early in the first quarter with the knee injury, and Ledbetter was there to pick him up and make the tackle, but he kept the legs moving and got about 5 yards. And the defense has had a little rest here from Mike Price gamble on 4th and inches, and so they should be able to come out here and play pretty strong.
Backs in the eye behind Taylor. Jenkins is the fullback. Cougars were almost offside. There's no flag. Not much on the running game there as Zumwalt gets out to about the 30-yard line.
Good job by Tony Savage, just taking up a lot of room. It's just a big body in the way, and keeping his feet moving on down the line of scrimmage and plugging that thing up and making the tackle. There's Gosson on the sideline. Hasn't had too much success throwing the ball this second half. Has been feeling the pressure of Cal's renewed emphasis on the blitz to stop things on the key plays. And here's one for Troy Taylor as far as key plays. He needs to get something happening. They really haven't moved the ball at all this second half.
3rd and 2 for the Bears. They have trips right, just one back, and Taylor is audible in. Cougars don't show blitz.
Here's the drag.
There's the pass to Musgrove. He's wide open over the middle. Alvin Dunn makes the tackle, but plenty of damage for the Bears. A first down at their own 47-yard line.
Well, Ford just goes right up the middle of the field in his drag route. You see that Ledbetter vacates the middle, and Alvin Dunn is just a little bit late to really influence that play, and Troy Taylor is now past Jack Thompson in career total offense. He's now 5th in the Pac-10. That's all-time career yardage.
Taylor, play action, throwing the home run ball. And as Triggs and Cope with the call at the 25-yard line, Triggs was wide open.
Treggs came down and made a good post move and then broke off on the corner route. Troy Taylor put the ball right where it had to be. Again, Cougars not getting any penetration. There's the play action, buys time to get Treggs downfield, and he turns Ricard around and just gets the foot in. Makes a nice catch. Big play for Troy Taylor and his offensive group, and now they're going in and threatening to score again.
22 yards on that play. They've gone 39 yards in 2 plays. Trips right. Taylor, time now, pressured out of the pocket, has some running room. And Grayson and Ledbetter force him out at the 17-yard line.
Well, Lewis Bush came that time from his outside linebacker position and just made his initial pop. You'll see him here up on the top as he goes against Zumwalt. There's the pop, and he's coming in, and he can't find Troy Taylor because he's already gone. So Troy Taylor with a pretty good heads-up call and scampers for about 9.
4 seconds left in the third quarter. Bears lead it 21-20. California on the move. Zumwalt with a first down, and we got a flag thrown, so that one's going to come back. It was thrown right at the feet of Tony Smith, the big lineman out of Placerville, California, the base of the Sierras, and he is called for the hold on Tim Downing. So the third quarter will end on a penalty, and it will set the Bears back. They have a 1-point lead, and they will try to add to it when this fourth quarter starts. California 21, Washington State 20 at the end of 3 quarters. You're watching Washington State Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest.
What is it?
Still the third quarter. The officials had blown the whistles, let the team start to go to the other end of the field, and then conferred and decided to bring it back, saying that the third quarter cannot end on a penalty. So they have 0-0 on the clock, and they have pushed Cal back. So it's 2nd and 11 with the ball on the 26-yard line. And this will be the final play of the third quarter now. Treggs comes in motion. Play action, Taylor to throw. And finds Treggs, and he's knocked down at the 17-yard line. So a pickup of 9 on the play. And that will now be the end of the third quarter. And the players will make their way down to the other end of the field. Why they do that? We'll take a timeout. California 21, Washington State 20. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest. It's up on the board. In the first quarter, the Cougars have put up just 3 points in the last 30 minutes of football.
Well, it's 2 things. I think the Cougars not executing on the key third downs in order to keep drives alive, and also Bruce Snyder's decision to put pressure on Gosson, knowing that he doesn't have his regular fleet of wide receivers. There you see the total yards pretty even, 352 to 388. Cal on top and looking for more.
3rd and 3 for Taylor and the Bears. This is Zumwalt. Breaks a tackle, and a good second effort gets him the first down. They might have stopped him before the first down, but Zumwalt with a great second effort gets down to the 10.
Cougar defense not playing, again, good intensive football on a key down. You see Marlon Brown getting hooked. Michael Wright comes out to make the tackle and doesn't finish it off. Alvin Dunn holds on, but Zumwalt's able to pick up a big first down and keep their drive alive. Be 1st and goal from the 10.
So the Cougar defense called on again to try to create the turnover. Cal was driving at the end of the first half, and Alvin Dunn came up with the interception. Taylor gets down to the 5. Randy Gray from behind.
Well, here Taylor's got a short field to work with and doesn't really have much room for his receivers to work, and they don't come open initially. So he sees a little seam and decides to pick up the 5 yards. Randy Gray with good hustle gets a piece along with Grayson and Garabedian to hold him to at least out of the side of the end zone.
I believe I said Alvin Dunn had the interception. It was John Diggs who had the interception for the Cougars. 2nd and goal to go from the 5. Zumwalt hit at the 4 and falls forward. It was Weber and Downing who had a chance to wrap him up at the 4, but Zumwalt kept the feet going, the momentum going, and he got down to the 2.
Yeah, Weber had a great shot at him, and just wasn't able to wrap him up, and then took it down to the 2. So this is about as big a play as the Cougar defense is going to face all day. It'll be interesting interesting to see if they don't score the touchdown here, Cal Bears don't score the touchdown, if they elect to try to punch it in.
Ball right in the center of the hash marks, and the Cougars with 7 up on the line of scrimmage. That's Jenkins going in motion, play action. He wanted Jenkins, he's not there, and he throws it over the head of Anthony Grandison. He wanted Jenkins, but the Cougars did a nice job picking him up coming down the line of scrimmage.
Well, that was the play that they scored on originally, with the man in motion coming to create the thought of at least the inside handoff, and they fake it and then try to throw to the guy who was in motion, and Taylor elects just to throw it out of the end zone. So I guess fortunate that Taylor wasn't able to connect on that play and force the field goal.
Keene comes on to attempt what is essentially an extra point. Flores, reminder, the holder is a backup quarterback. Keene straight away and puts it through. So with the field goal, Robbie Keene makes it a 4-point game. So the Cougars now have to come back with a touchdown. Justin Anderson can't be a factor with just one score for the Cougars. 13-10 left to play in the football game. California leads it by 4. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest. By 4, Cougars had the football just 2 times in the third quarter. Started on their own 34, and they were able to move it down to the 20 before the drive stalled, and Hansen kicked the 43-yard field goal. Last time they had the ball started on their 12, and they were able to move it out, went for it on 4th and 1 from their own 22, kept the drive alive, but then Myers had to come on and punt it away after Gosson was sacked. So Robbie Keene to kick it off. Swinton and Broussard deep for Washington State. Cougars need to generate some offense like they did in the first quarter. There has not been a run back of a kick yet by the Cougars, and there still won't be. Broussard about 8 yards deep. Thought about it, but won't.
Thought about it. Well, during the timeout there, before the kickoff, there was Mike Smith, the senior, was talking to that offensive line, and he was trying to get him fired up, and he was smacking him in the shoulder pads. And the offensive line is the group that's going to make it happen right now. And Mike Smith knows that this is really crunch time for this Cougar team. If they want to see a bowl bid, they're going to have to go down and score a touchdown here.
Smith, don't make him older than he is. He is just a junior. He's got one more year, but he is trying to take on a leadership role now that he's playing center in place of Paul Wolf. Gosson perhaps going to an audible on 1st and 10 from the 20, and hits Ron Young at the 25, and Young gets out to the 29-yard line. Doug Parrish in on the stop.
Young's down.
Young at 6'3", 203 pounds, and what the Cougars are hoping to do with Young in the offseason is really bulk him up, get him on a weight program. We saw in the Arizona State game where he made a catch and was stripped of the ball, and a couple of times he's had his hands on the ball and not been able to hang on because the defenders got a hold of him as he walks off. The Cougars would like to make him just that much stronger.
Well, here's the path that's been available all day, and they just finally decide to take what's given them, and Ron Young makes a good catch and tries to make something happen. That's a good shot in the hip by Parrish.
Broussard on 2nd and 1, and Odom is able to wrap him up back at the 26. Dwayne Odom has played a great second half. He has been in the backfield and been able to get to Broussard on a number of occasions.
Well, again, it's a function of not having people in their familiar positions. Rodney Scott, playing the slot back position, is responsible for blocking Odom on that, and he's not a wide receiver, and it's just a function of numbers and people being hurt that's really hurting the execution in this second half.
Broussard had 128 yards on 20 carries in the first half, 30 yards on 9 carries so far in the second half. 3rd and 4 for the Cougars now from the 26. Gosson wants to call timeout. Didn't like the play call and had the receivers skittering around. And the Cougars are going to decide what they want to do on 3rd and 4. 12-11 left to play in the football game. California 24, Washington State 20. You're watching Cougar Football 89 from Berkeley on Prime Sports Northwest. Cougars trailing by 4. And the Seagulls circling in Strawberry Canyon. They know it's going to be feeding time here pretty soon.
Well, we've got the blitz. This is the crucial plays we've been talking about. Let's see if the Cougars have come up with something to set it off.
He wanted Broussard, who was in motion. They go up the sideline, and Broussard was well covered. Darren Greer had the coverage. That's a play that's worked for a touchdown on a couple of occasions for the Cougars, but Greer stayed right with Broussard that time, and Gosson had nowhere else to go.
Well, that time Gosson he stuck with them a little bit too long. That's a play like we talked about earlier with Cal's offense, that if it's there, you hit him right away. If it's not, you got to go to your second guy. And the play is not there, and he's trying to make it happen. If he comes off and looks to his second wide receiver, which is Jody Sears, he's got a better shot. But again, the defensive pressure forcing the Cougars out of their normal passing game, along with not having any wide receivers that have played the positions before.
Quinn Magnuson with a good snap this time. And Myers gets off a good kick. Treggs will make the catch at his 32. Picks up a block, but Lewis Bush fights it off. Jason Wilborn had the block on Lewis Bush, but Bush fought it off and made a nice tackle. So the Cougars, who lead the Pac-10 in net punting, continuing to do a nice job on coverage, and the Bears will start with the football on their own 28.
That was a heck of an athletic play by Bush. Here's the punt. Got a good snap this time, and ball doesn't turn over for Myers, but it hangs up there enough to allow Bush to get downfield. Treggs will take the ball and start to go to his left. You'll see the block coming into play here. Right, boom, but not enough, and Lewis Bush is...
I guess he really didn't fight it off, did he?
He got hit pretty good, but unfortunately for Treggs, he had stopped and went right into him.
Taylor wants to throw on first down. It's a quarterback draw, and he's got some running room, and very close to a first down. And he gets a very nice spot from the official. And the Cougar defense needs to put the clamps on the Bears right here.
And Troy Taylor does a good job. It's not a draw. He just sees that he doesn't really have much of anything happening in the secondary, so he's going to try to outrun Ledbetter to the sidelines, and does effective enough job of switching hands and leaning forward and getting the first down. He's done a good job. You know, he's not known for his scrambling ability, certainly not known for his rushing capabilities, but has taken what's been given him and done a good job keeping the linebackers honest and picking up some pretty good yards, just tucking it up.
Back stacked in the eye behind Taylor now. Play action. Wants to throw the home run ball. Ricard with the coverage on Ford. Ford again, Ricard never saw the football. I think over the wrong shoulder. And Ricard was looking in. The ball went out, and Ford made the easy catch. 51 yards on the pass play.
Well, the first part of the equation is good pass protection, and Troy Taylor's just going to let it go. And the offensive player has the advantage because he's looking back for the ball. Ricard with, you know, not very good coverage, quite frankly, because Ford had beat him to the outside. And big play for the Cal Bears, and the defense is not able to come up with the interception of their turnover. And Troy Taylor has got the hot hand.
First and goal on the 10 for the Bears. Taylor wants to throw. That's Ford again. He's at the 5, and Roosevelt Noble wrestles him down at the 2. So the Bears on the move. Second and goal from the 2, and they have an opportunity to really put Washington State into a hole.
Well, the thing that's happening is Washington State, when they do elect to go to the man-to-man coverage and do elect to try to put pressure on, aren't getting the pressure, and Troy Taylor's got the right plays called to get rid of the ball early. Second and goal.
Zummel, touchdown, California Bears. Troy Taylor and the Bears made it look easy. We got a little brouhaha going. Mark Ledbetter gave Zummel the push. We got flags flying, Cougars and Bears flying as well. The officials trying to take care of it. Mark Ledbetter is being talked to by one of the officials, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's not allowed to play anymore. Well, I don't think he's been given the thumb, but it could happen.
Well, hopefully he's not thrown out. That's the frustration of getting your butt kicked. Ledbetter's about 5 yards deep in the end zone and wasn't able to get to the player, and he's just taking out his frustration. Here's the replay of the touchdown, sort of. Here we go forward, and all it is coming off the left side, and Zumwalt's going to take it inside Moton, who's not in position, and there's Ledbetter trying to get through and make the tackle, but just can't quite make it happen, and Cal will go on top by 11.
Keene tacks on the extra point. 72-yard drive, 4 plays in 1:17. The Bears strike quickly. And the penalty against the Cougars will be assessed on the kickoff. 10:39 left to play in the football game. The Cougars have their work cut out for them. The Bears 31, Cougars 20. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest. They have assessed the personal foul on the kickoff against Washington State. So the Bears will kick it off from the midfield stripe. Last time they had an opportunity to do this, they just had Keene line it out of the end zone. In fact, he hit the upright. And we'll see if that's what Bruce Snyder elects to do again.
Well, the Cougs are in a hole. There's plenty of time here, and if they can get something going on offense, I guess in my mind, if I'm Mike Price and I've got my positive hat on, I'm thinking I can go down this field, go for 2, have it 28-31, and then all I need is a field goal. So there's a lot of time in there. They just have to have something come together on offense as Keene just drills it out of the stadium. Cougs just start 1st and 10 on their own 20.
Keene put it through the upright into the photographers, but no points, as James Springer will mark the football out on the 20. And the Goose and the Cougar offense have their work cut out for them here. They need to see what they can get going. They need to drive and put some points on the board one way or the other here. 10:39 left to play in the football game.
Well, they've come out with 2 tight ends, so that tells me we're just going to run the ball down their throat for about 8 plays with Broussard, and I hope they're going to throw to him.
Broussard goes in motion. And Gosson wants to throw over the middle and finds Olson. And Olson is out near a 1st down, brought down by Dan Slavin.
This is a formation I like. From one standpoint, you don't have your wide receivers that are unfamiliar with their positions. And 2, you've got 2 of your more consistent players in Olson and Wellstant in there. And it really sets the tone for the running game. But apparently Mike Price is going to say, in order to win this one, we're going to have to throw it.
C.J. Davis at home with a shoulder injury. Tim Stallworth still on the sidelines in uniform, but even has the knee brace off. There was thought that Stallworth would see some action, perhaps even as a decoy, but he is not today. Trips right for the Cougars. Gosson keeps Broussard in to block, has time and throws it over the head of Stockner, and it should have been intercepted. Doug Parrish didn't see the ball, and it was right in his lap. Might have
just got tipped as Stockner went up to get it. Gosson a little high. There's no reason for him to be high except for he's just trying to gun it in there. You can see he lets it fly. Stockner goes up and just tipped it enough that it changed the trajectory of the ball and hit Parrish in the chest instead of where he thought it was going to be a little lower. So Gosson escapes with a little luck on his side there, and we need a little more luck only in the form of a touchdown. Here's the blitz.
Being relayed out by Jody Sears. Here it comes. Gosson avoids it, but can't pick up any yardage. So again, the Cougars have not been able to figure that blitz out.
They just don't have the right plays as an audible play for Gosson to work. Here, Gosson drops back, and he might have got the possible face mask right here. I think it's Wilburn reaches out and gets a little bit of the face mask, but the referee weren't going to call that. And so that brings up a long 3rd and 13 here for Washington State, and then Gosson, and I think this may be 2-down territory here for Washington State.
3rd and 12, the ball on the 28. The crowd on their feet making as much noise as they can for the Cougars. Calvin Griggs is in at wide receiver. Here comes the blitz, and Gosson won't get it off. He was hammered, simply run over by Ron Inglis.
This is a case where you've just got more people coming than you got blocking, and Broussard has the decision of who he's going to pick there, and he picks the wrong guy. And Gosson has nowhere to go, and Coach Price has abandoned the running game that's been so successful for him all game, and I think a little bit too early, because there's lanes for Broussard to break through in that defensive scheme that Staller's running.
Triggs had some room this time, and Quinn Magnuson, who snapped it, makes the tackle after the Rob Myers punt, and the Bears have good field position, so the defense is going to have to get after it because the Bear defense has simply pinned its ears back and come after the Cougs.
The way you stop that blitz is run against it. And if the one thing they're gambling on is they can get to Gosson before he has a chance to set up and throw. And the wide receivers that he's got out there are either hurt and not playing 100% or are young, and you really can't blame them. But if you run against that thing, you can split through there and perhaps get a big one. Certainly throwing the ball hasn't been effective against it.
Zumwalt takes it up the middle. California now, 479 yards of total offense, and the Cougars at 356, but Washington State had 200 in the first quarter. Cougars are trying to talk things over on the sidelines. Let's listen in if we can.
I guess the key right now is get the ball back.
California crowd trying to intimidate the Cougars a bit as well. Cougars come on the blitz, and Tim Downing was able to make the tackle and will set up a 3rd and 10. And the Cougar defense trying to do its job, and they have one more play to complete it.
Here they come with the blitz, recognizing that Cal might be running, and there's Ledbetter and Downing and Bush all getting excellent penetrations, just jumping in the gaps and getting into the backfield. Downing with a good effort. He's quick off the ball. That ankle injury has slowed him up a little bit, but did a nice job there. 3rd and 10 now, and there won't be a bigger down for the Cougar defense in this one right here.
Inside of 8 minutes to go, and the clock is running. Cougars trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak and trying to keep their bowl hopes alive, but they're going to have to rally in a hurry to do so. Cougars show blitz. Taylor audibles. Quick pass. Complete. First down, California. Really, Cleet, you look at that, and we talked about what Washington State has not been able to do. They've not been able to adjust. The inexperience due to the injuries at wide receiver. You see a senior quarterback and a senior receiver making the adjustment on the audible.
That's right. It's just a side adjustment that Taylor will look out to him and either give him the hand or give him the nod, and he knows what's coming. He knows that Lewis Bush is going to come from his outside end and vacate that underneath coverage. And Ron Ricard has to respect the speed of Smith, who had 2 touchdowns last week, so that little post route is available.
Taylor threw for 372 yards a week ago, now at 368. Zumwalt tries to get outside, breaks the tackle, he's gone.
Well, Greg Zumwalt's done it all afternoon filling in for Wallace, and here he takes it outside, and John Diggs has an excellent shot at him and misses him just completely, dives at the leg, and Zumwalt is able to power through and goes for the long touchdown run, and that makes it 37-20, and for Washington State to pull this one out is going to be one heck of a comeback, because Keene's on to add an extra one, and they're going to have to score 3 touchdowns in order to make this thing a win.
A career day for Greg Zumwalt, the freshman out of Moreno Valley, California. 7:09 left to play in the football game, and the Cal Cannon appears to have shot the heart and the hopes out of the Cougar Bowl hopes. 38-20 Bears. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest. The Apple Cup for the Cougars is going to be for Pride next week in Seattle.
Well, it certainly is frustrating. You know, the defense is out there and they're in position to make the plays. Broussard's going to get a chance to run this one back.
Tried to do the same thing he did against Arizona State, bring it out to the right side and cut it back to the left, but the Bears were onto that, and Broussard is on the turf at the 10.
I don't know what the run was. It was the kick was over on the hash, and all the blockers were on the opposite hash, and Broussard really had nowhere to run coming out of his own end zone. But again, I think Mike Price has to go to the 2 tight end offense and work the running game, because although the passing game is something that'll get you right in it, it hasn't been happening in the second half.
You see the way the Bears have dominated total offense in the second half. Cougars with just 80 yards of total offense. Broussard goes in motion. Gosson wanted Broussard. He wasn't there. Finds Ron Young. Young gets a first down, then gives it back up. And Let's see where they spot the football. He had the first down and then gave up some yardage. Cleve, what about this? Could you line Steve Broussard up in the slot where you normally line Tim Stallworth and try to take advantage of the possibility of one-on-one with a linebacker?
Well, you can. He's not familiar with it, and I don't know how much he practices here. You see Young getting the first down, then losing the first down, and getting close to it again, and there's a flag on the play that'll bring us back. There's Mike Price, who's giving the calls to Pattison, and somewhere in the communication, we've got to find a play that's gonna light it up and change the momentum here, because it certainly hasn't been going well this whole second half for the Cougar offense.
The hold puts it back to the 5, half the distance to the goal line, so it's 1st and 15 from the 5. 6:50 left to play in the football game here in Berkeley.
Let's go!
Trips right for Washington State. That's Swinton in the backfield. He goes in motion. Gossett, same pattern. Young is clothesline. Couldn't hang on to the football. Darren Greer got to Young right as Young got to the ball, and Young was still down on the turf.
You can't get away with that too many times, especially with a defensive secondary that's playing back a little bit, and once you show them that play and then come right back to it, someone's going to pay, and the person paying is Ron Young. Here's Gosson dropping back again. He's got a hole, and here Young goes up for it, and really is wrenched back by Greer on the face mask, and a little extracurricular activity there by Greer that was unnecessary, but the realities are 2nd and 15 from your own 5 with 6:40 to go, and you're down by 18. It's not a good script right now for this ending.
Brad Gosson, the junior out of Westlake Village, California, looking on the draw to Broussard. He's got some running room. Can he get a block? No. Stogner was trying to drive Parrish outside, and Parrish was able to get back inside and tackles Broussard very close to the first down.
There's the thing that, again, I've been, I guess, wishing I would see is the Bears have been susceptible against the run all day, and you need to mix it up and give Broussard the ball. There he proves that he can pick it up on his own, just get the ball in his hands, and pretty good job of running the ball and getting the first down, knowing where he needed to be.
Gosson delivers it to Jody Sears, and they say he did not make the catch. Sears can't hang on to it.
You know, the one thing I've noticed, I guess, after a couple games of watching Aaron Garcia and now seeing Gosson run the team again, which is something that's surprising me, is he's locking on to one receiver and throwing to that receiver and watching him all the way down during his route. And he needs to maybe check off and find his secondary guy, because he's a little bit too predictable.
Over the middle, and the pass might have hit the official. It might have hit John Belli.
It hit the official. Gosson's talking to the other, talking to Springer, trying to get a call from him. Oh, it did hit Belli. It looked like it hit the official. Gosson was down there chewing, maybe trying to get a new play or something.
6:17 left to go in the football game. 38-20, California leading the Cougars. And Washington State needing to call on a miracle now.
3rd and 10. Here's the blitz.
Gosson avoids it for a moment, and that's all. Rhett Hall, David Ortega, Ron English.
Fourth and 10, and it looks like Mike Price is going to go with it here and try to make something happen.
He's going to call a timeout, and the Cougars are going to talk about it. It's going to be 4th and about 15 after the sack, as you see Brad Gosson come over to the sideline to talk to Mike Price. 5:53 left to play in the football game. The Bears 38, the Cougars 20. You're watching Cougar Football 89 on Prime Sports Northwest. Football away. Myers is back inside his own 5. Snap is low. Myers fields it on a bounce and gets it away. Myers is hit, but there will be no call, as he had come back down to the ground. Ray Sanders with the fair catch, and the Bears will have the football in good field position at the 48 of California. Mike Price made his way down to his defense during that timeout. Into took off his headset and said, come on, guys, come up with a turnover. We need it.
They need a turnover that leads to a touchdown in a hurry. And I think you can see the ball being given to Zumwalt here. Snyder has had great success all day, which is surprising, getting the ball to Zumwalt. And I think that's what he's going to try to do, is just milk this clock as best as he can. He's got pretty good field position, and the Cougars haven't shown that they can stop him or Taylor.
And
there's the fumble.
Taylor, I believe, fell on it. The official started to point in Washington State's direction, and then James Springer corrected it, and he's pointing to the Bears. Looked like Taylor was able to fall back on it.
Boy, the ball took a funny pop coming out of there, and Taylor has to scramble over to get it. Randy Gray was just a half a second late, and the ball was still rolling around, but Taylor was fortunate to fumble, or fall on the fumble, and they retain. That's got to give Bruce Snyder a little jump. That's not the play he called. Again, Troy Taylor, being the experienced quarterback he is, will come out the line of scrimmage, take his time, and let the clock roll down as much as possible before he snaps it.
Hands it off to Zumwalt this time, and Zumwalt is wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, and the Cougars, the first guy will try to slow him down, and the second guy will go after the football, but Zumwalt, realizing that, keeping two arms wrapped around the football. Inside of 5 minutes to play, 4 minutes, 50 seconds and counting, and the Bears with a 3rd and long. The pattern has continued as far as interceptions for Washington State. They have the one interception in this game. When they've had 1 or 0, they have lost.
Well, I'm not going to throw in the towel yet because there's still a little time, 4 minutes left. Hopefully some sort of big play can come from the offensive side of the ball if the defense can hold here. So it's not over yet, but it's getting there. The curtains are starting to close.
Timeout whistled on the field. I believe California has called the timeout.
To get that ball stopped and with pretty good field position, but I would assume.
Imagine they'll keep it on the ground and rely on the foot of Mr. Keene.
Nope, they're not.
Well, Taylor's not going to throw it. He's going to take the sack, and the Cougars will call timeout. And they do. So 4:15 left in the football game, and Washington State will get the football back. They will get decent field position, but they've got a lot of work to go. Down by 18 points. Cougars have 2. Actually, they're saying now that's the final Cougar timeout, and it is. Washington State had used the 2 earlier. So the Cougars take a timeout. We'll do the same. 4:15 to play in the football game. California 38, Cougars 20. You're watching. Robbie Keene punted it away in a beautiful, beautiful punt that we will show you momentarily. And John Diggs on the return. Great coverage by the Bears, and you'll see him cough up the football, and Alvin Dunn was able to cover it for Washington State.
Well, Diggs takes a big hit there, and the ball is kicked loose. Fortunately, Cougs is there to ball, and I think it was Ron Young to keep the ball in their possession. And now the work comes to Gosson to see if he can create something, make it happen. Again, you don't have the speed that you're looking for with Stallworth in the slot back position at Sears, so you just have to try your best to move the ball down the field.
Dump pass over the middle to Doug Wellsent, and he is brought down at the 30. It's enough for a 1st down, so the clock will stop while they move the chains, and the Cougars need to get to the line of scrimmage as soon as they can.
Well, the Cougars did a good job during that timeout of getting their offense around them and around Mike Price and establishing what the first 3 plays were going to be in this drive. The problem is you've got young receivers that have never been in this position before, and they're wasting a little time getting set.
Gosson has time to throw. Throws the home run ball for Curtis Geathers, and Geathers almost made the catch after the adjustment, but Darren Greer had the defense. Geathers made a nice try, though.
Just mistimed his leap a little bit. That's a play similar to how Rick came up with against Oregon. Gosson did a good job buying time to get the ball to Geathers, but again, the defense is going to be playing deep in the prevent. Here's Gosson drifting, and letting him go down the sidelines, and Geathers goes up maybe just a little early. Tough play to come back and get that ball.
2nd and 10 from the 30.
Here's the blitz, which is kind of surprising that the Bears are going to come out with that. You got to get rid of this ball. Get rid of it.
And he does, and it is caught by Jody Sears, I believe, and he goes right down. So Sears with the catch, but couldn't do anything with it. And the clock is moving. 3:25 left to play in this football game. The clock running out on Cougar Bowl hopes. Gosson on 3rd and 8. Has time. Looks for Sears, and did he hang on? He did. Sears makes the catch in traffic. Travis Oliver comes up with the football, but they're going to give the catch to Sears.
Sears had to wait and wait and wait for that ball, and he may be hurt. He doesn't look like he's moving too well. He's had a tough day. He's been beat up pretty good along with the rest of the wide receiver corps. And Gosson,
take a look at the pop he gets here.
Yeah, he's waiting for it. He's coming back, and questionable whether or not he did catch that ball or not. You really couldn't see, but the official was right there. He's twisted. I guess what worries me is I don't see much movement in the legs for Jody, and that's not a good sign.
Steve Cox, a Cougar doctor, also out taking a look.
Okay, well, I see the legs moving around, so hopefully it's not something that's associated with the spine or the nerves or anything like that. You hate to see that type of thing. You hate to see any type of injury, but I just don't like the way he's laying down there. It doesn't look good to me.
Backfield, and on that first down play, the clock will continue to move, and the Cougs will have to scamper to the line of scrimmage. Very quickly, the play call being made. You see Calvin Griggs come to the bottom of your screen. He's had just one catch today and paid for that with a hit on his sore shoulder. Gosson for Desmond Clayton, and the freshman drops the football. Had it right in the bread basket and dropped it.
Well, Gosson really doesn't have much of a selection as far as what type of pass is going to be given it. Just a tough day all around for the Cougars, and this kind of punctuates it with Desmond Clayton, the ball right in his arm, bouncing off the bicep for an incomplete pass, brings up 3rd and 8. And the Cougars need to get something downfield in a hurry in order to even think about the onside kick and making it happen that way.
Pass over the middle, and it will be good for a first down, where they will mark the progress of Doug Wellsand. He is actually being brought down back of the first down marker, but the spot is a first down, so it stops the clock with 2:28 left to play in the 4th quarter. The first quarter of this football game, Washington State posted 17 points on the board, had about 205 yards of total offense. They're barely over 100 yards of total offense the rest of the way.
Well, there you see Gosson hitting Wellsand, enough for the first down, and again, you still got a shot to the end zone, making something happen.
Gosson, pump fake, and now we'll throw it over the middle. Again, Wellsand, this one short of the first down, so inside the 30, but the clock continues to run. And if this were the NFL, it would stop at 2 minutes for the 2-minute warning, but in college, it just waves goodbye to that 2-minute mark and keeps counting down. Gosson with the play call. And has time. Now he's going to have to run it. And he is knocked down. First down for Washington State, but Gosson was met hard by David Wilson, number 25.
Again, Cal's defense playing back. Got everybody covered pretty well. And Gosson tries to take it upfield and is trying to make something happen. Fakes a little move in there, and Wilson says, "No, Brad, you're not going in."
Gosson, time to throw.
He's got Gathers over the end zone if he can find him.
Couldn't find him. Wants Olson and throws it over his head. Also had Broussard. He looked for Broussard, had Olson on the break, but didn't have enough time to get rid of it.
Well, Gosson, as I said, has not been sharp the second half, and part of that has been unfamiliarity with the wide receivers that are running routes and the timing that is associated with that. And the other half has been the pressure that Cal has been able to put on him this whole second half and really nullify the type of routes that Washington State wants to run, the deeper routes that have been so effective for him all year.
Gosson, 25 out of 39, 255 yards on the afternoon. Broussard might have got help from an illegal block as he bounces outside and goes out of bounds inside the 9-yard line. So a minute 24 left to go in the football game, and the Cougars knocking on the door. The only times they've made it into the end zone, that man, number 31, has got there on a couple of runs.
Well, that's the thing. I guess in retrospect, it's easy to say, but this type of stuff is as effective as any pass that you'll ever throw, and has, I guess, been a little more consistent as far as Broussard has sliced them up all game here. 31 rushes for 182 yards, but really has not touched the ball in this fourth quarter other than a couple of draw plays.
33,000 here at Memorial Stadium, and they're trying to keep the Cougars out of the end zone with the Bear defense. Gethers makes the catch, and the official says he broke the plane. So Curtis Gethers with his first touchdown catch as a Washington State Cougar. Young man out of Olympia will remember this catch.
Pretty good pass protection, and Gosson lets it fly, puts that one right on the mark, and Gethers is able to just get it across the goal line there. So now we'll have a little fireworks anyway. Washington State's attempted one onside kick. Here they'll go for two. Hopefully be able to get an onside kick and go down and score a quick touchdown again. And then hope for a little more, and we're hoping a lot here for Washington State to be able to pull out a win here, but we'll have a little shot at it here on this next kickoff.
Paul Carr, Steve Broussard in the backfield, and it's the bruiser, and he is not able to get outside. So the Bear defense stuffs the run, and everybody in the stadium knows there's an onside kick coming. So the Bears lead it 38-26, and the Cougars will be trying an onside kick.
Well, mathematically, that not being able to put that two-point conversion in hurts, because now the Cougars are 12 points down, and a touchdown and a two-point extra point doesn't help you, because you still have to score two touchdowns. Here's the touchdown. Again, Gosson looking to his left and then coming back to, I think, which was his second receiver, which was Gethers, was able to just nose across the line there for the touchdown. So here comes the onside kick crew. A little kamikaze, some daring linebackers to maybe blow away the first wave and allow Paul Carr or someone like that to get their hands on the ball and skip through for a touchdown. How's that for
well, which one do you like? Do you like to roll it and try to knock him off the ball and dive on it after 10 yards, or you like to try to bounce it around a little bit?
I think the first one that they did was the soft little looper that they were hoping maybe they could catch, and that was ineffective, so maybe they try the hard bouncer and skips off to the last guy in the line of scrimmage and hope for that crazy bounce that works your way. The first attempt to do the little slow roller didn't work well.
Ron Flores, who is a backup quarterback, the holder, he's up on that front line. One of the secondary backs is Mike Pulaski, who is the backup quarterback.
There's three Cougars on the far sideline. I think what they're going to try to do is hit it hard up there to them.
Nope. Decoy. Got it. Oh, they had a chance at it. Now it's loose and covered by the Bears. Boy, the Cougars had it. Somebody had it in their hands. But it was covered by Michael Smith, the wide receiver for the California Bears.
Oh, my God. I can't believe he didn't get that ball. I mean, here's the kick, and it's a perfect little dribble kick, and I can't tell who it is. But it's going to come right up to him right there. I think it's Paul Carr, and he just couldn't wrap it up.
Wasn't looking up. Didn't think it was 10 yards yet, I think.
Yeah, he was concerned with the ball going 10 yards and didn't wrap it up. But
there's a flag down, and what they might be saying, Clete, is that it hadn't gone 10 yards. The ball actually had gone 10, but Paul Carr hadn't. And they might be calling Carr for that.
Well, offside on the kicking team. Penalty is declined. The ball was touched by the kicking team before it went 10 yards. The ball belongs to the kick return team at that point, first and 10.
There you heard the explanation.
There's the touch, and it was a micro hair from being 10 yards. Excellent vision by that official making that call.
I think what they did, they probably saw Paul Carr there and called him instead of where the ball was. As you see, Brad Gosson very disappointed in what has transpired this afternoon, and the Bears will just try to run it out. Zumwalt, and he is brought down. The Cougars will tackle the ball, but to no avail. 1:05, and the clock is moving, and Washington State cannot stop the clock, so this football game is just about history. And the California Bears will close out their home season here at Memorial Stadium with a victory, something Washington State was not able to do at Martin Stadium as the Cougars lost 23-21 to Arizona. So the Cougars will have a gut check next week as they will head to the Apple Cup on the tails of a 3-game losing streak. After starting off 6-1, the Cougars fall now to 6-4, and the California Bears improved to 4-6 overall.
Well, going into this game, you really thought Washington State had an excellent opportunity to come in here and beat this Cal Bears team, but Troy Taylor and the defense came up with really an excellent second half to put this one away, and disappointing loss for Mike Price and his crew, but I guess if there's something to look forward, it's going to Seattle and taking on the Dogs in their hometown and seeing if you can pull out a victory there. So excellent job by Bruce Snyder and Troy Taylor. And the California Bears, they didn't sneak away with it. They came out and won this game.
So the Bears, with their second consecutive come-from-behind victory here in Strawberry Canyon for their coach Bruce Snyder, and the Cougars fall to 6-4. California wins it 38-26 as you see Bruce Snyder, Mike Price shake hands at midfield, and Troy Taylor passed for 368 yards. Career, and he moved up the charts on the Pac-10 passing and total offense charts as the California Bears avenge a 44-13 loss to the Cougars of a year ago and come up with the victory. Well, Cleet, it's been a great year.
It has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed this opportunity to work with you, and hopefully that the Cougars out in Seattle and walk away with a fine season. But I have enjoyed working with you. It's been a pleasure with Brian Murray and the groups and the crew, and it's been a good time.
I want to thank you. Thank Clayton Packard of Prime Sports Northwest, Brian Murray, our director, and the rest of the Prime Sports Northwest crew. We'll have Cougar basketball for you.